Lai Lut gets praised for his skills. Then the story cuts. It's his 15th birthday. Walking home, he realizes it's late. His chores took way longer than planned. Fear grips him as a massive force slams into his back, nearly knocking him off his feet. Sylphie suddenly hugs him from behind, a gorgeous girl with a charming smile and long, silky hair. Lai Lut's prank face shocks the girl. She trembles and tries to hide, but no matter how low she ducks, he keeps hunting for her gaze. She bursts out laughing, joking she can't keep it together when she sees his face. Calling him Mel, she's in tears, clutching her stomach. Mele Luce smiles at the girl's laughter, noting her newfound cheer today. She calms down, blushing as she admits his advice to enjoy life changed everything, her smile turning warm and gentle. He strokes her head, noting her obedience. She smiles and snuggles closer, craving more attention. Despite his antics, she's falling for him even harder. Sylphina is a lone orphan with zero family. Her father abandoned her here a year ago. Now living in the church, her father dotes on her, but her memories are gone. Only her name remains. She's always asking when he'll finish work so they can finally play. He laughs, flashes a sly grin, and reveals he just turned 15. Sylvie's stunned, but he cuts her off, proudly declaring he's finally getting the blessing with a smug grin. She asked if he really scored a skill from Mother Earth, finding it hard to believe. He mulls over her words. Adulthood has many meanings. He agrees, but the thought haunts him. Confused, she asks how to become an adult. He smirks, blushing as a bold, awkward thought flashes through his mind. Sophina demands answers, but the guy just turns bright red. She's totally clueless, while he stammers about being busy. A shout stops Mel. Layout Row appears with a load of firewood, demanding to know if it's true, and if Mel is still around. Ro's dad is waiting. He rubs his sore back from chopping wood, while Melai Lut apologizes. Before he leaves, Sylphie wishes him luck. Melai Lut wonders what skill he'll gain. As trauma hits, his mom died sick. His dad drank himself to death, and he's been alone ever since. Once he gets his skills and riches, he's leaving this town behind. Joking about his future millions, he sprints through the church halls. To escape this cursed village and church, he needs a power. His new skill. Assessment. Worried, his dad asks if he's okay. Did it really hit him that hard? He asks if the grade is real, and its official skills rank S to E, and his ability is dead last. Mao Li Lut is crushed by his pathetic E, and the humiliation is tearing him apart. Dad reassures him, revealing he has the same evaluation skill. It's normal, and Mel Ilut agrees. Assessment is a rare, god-tier skill that spots value instantly. Fakes, lies, or truth. Nothing escapes its gaze. Rank E limits his intel, but leveling up unlocks the royal palace doors. You thank your father, but he shrugs it off. This power isn't his. It's a gift from Mother Earth and your own natural talent. Awkwardly, he admits he's a rookie with this skill, but he vows to grind hard and climb the ranks. Try it then, the father smiles, warning that Mel S.'s new status is a death trap. Suddenly, a blade plunges into Mel S.'s chest, flipping his entire world upside down. Panicked and shaking, Meili struggles to stand. His father reveals that hitting rank B unlocks a massive new power, the ability to assess anyone. Mal. Lei Luth pulls the sword and coughs. His dad laughs it off as a warning, but the boy suddenly doubles over in agony. Mao Lei Lut chokes on blood as his father reveals the truth he's a fake, using the boy to hunt others who can identify values. Gasping, he looks up to see his father Hegel Uitza, a legendary thief and master of lies. Malai Lut sees his father's status and freezes notorious thief and fraudster. His dad hid this secret at all costs. Hegel knows the kid was lucky rank E or not. Identify is a legendary skill. He could have been a wealthy evaluator, but instead of living the dream, he's now facing his final moments. The father eyes the boy clutching his chest wound and coldly orders the body dumped, turning away with a hand on his thigh. Lilas rips the dagger from his body. He has no plan, but he hasn't lost heart. His eyes lock onto the neck of the thief, Igel Aus. He dumps the dirty work on someone else. The guy's eyes widen, ready to reveal his true essence. Just as Ro calls out, the man keeps screaming for help, but the boy draws a dagger and ruthlessly buries it in his back. The man coughs in shock and hits the floor, swinging a desperate punch. Malay dodges and counters from the right. The goddess's embrace heals the father instantly, and he bolts in a blind panic. Reality hits. Maliwuta, the goddess's powers are spent, and healing is impossible. Desperate, he lunges forward with his dagger. He's dying. One last cough, a final spasm, staring at a deep wound and wondering how he's still alive as consciousness slips away. Reality hits. Bloody hands, a lifeless body. The truth is undeniable. He did this, testing his power. The hero discovers he can read anyone's stats and steal their skills. His mind is unstable, but the goddess's embrace fully healed his body. He finally hears about the EX rating, the highest rank. It's exactly what he claimed about rank X. Reviewing his stats, the hero realizes he copied his father's healing skill just by reading his status. Healed by the goddess, he's back at full speed with his magic dagger in hand, all thanks to the man who just tried to kill him. Sylphie bursts in after Rue's call, only to find a nightmare, her father's bloody body and Mal sitting there, dagger in hand. Trembling in shock, he stares at his dead father. Why is Mal here? Suddenly, Mal lunges with his dagger. He yanks Sylphie close and shoves Ro aside, but instantly recoils in guilt. Moly. Lut enters the hall, knife drawn. Ro is terrified, screaming that Moly killed his father and he's next. He raises his hands, surrendering without a fight. He calls it a disaster and takes Sylphie hostage. Mel-I Lut stares at her, desperately justifying his actions. Ro warns he'll kill for a reason, barks at the boy to shut up, and flashes a sly, anxious grin. Malai analyzes Ro, the thief's assistant holding Sylphina hostage. Ro knows Malai can predict his moves, but Malai's crippling back pain keeps him from fighting at full power. He screams that Sylph is his prisoner and obeys his every whim. Enraged, he demands to know who leaked Sir Hegel's secret. He's seen enough. It's time to. Mowgli Lut knows his only edge is taijutsu and raw strength. He locks in, absorbing every move with a piercing gaze fixed on his opponent. Ro swings and misses. A low counter drops him. Meli Lut guts him with a kick, and Ro hits the dirt writhing. Furious, he repeatedly targets the spine. But Mel Ilayut ends the duel. Sylphie watches in terror as Mel Ilayut turns her way. She grabs his sleeve, signaling him to stay quiet. Laylut reads her mind, hearing a desperate plea. Done. Me. Her eyes are a mix of sadness and hope. Smiling shyly, he confidently offers his dirty hand. He read her mind. She takes it and joins him. Soon, they packed the cart. He took the heavy lifting, and the duo finally left their village behind. Lut tells Sylphie the horse is spent, so they stop. Staring at the stolen monastic chariot, Lut brands himself a thief and a murderer. He leaps down and helps Sylphia, but he's already wondering how many years will he rot in jail if he's caught. He spilled every detail of the fight with his father. Sylph listened in dead silence, her expression grim as the story unfolded. Stopping at the fire, the travelers sample the dried meat. Killing a criminal crosses a line, but he isn't dead. Just on the edge. Had he finished the job, It would have been clear-cut self-defense. Was it the right call? Was there another way? There was no time to choose, and now the doubt wanted to let him rest. Haunted by regret, he wonders what if he lacked his assessment gift. Hegel never turned criminal, and he wasn't hiding in the city's shadows. Gripping his food, he realizes things are falling apart. He's looking for someone to blame, but he chose this life. He knew every action had a price now. Sylph grabs his hand, her eyes burning with resolve as she tells him it's not his fault. Shocked, Malay Lute finally smiles. She asks his next move, but he asks if she misses home. She admits she remembers nothing of her birthplace. She admits she'd return home if she could. He grins, casually suggesting they leave right now. She admits she doesn't know her homeland, and his ignorance shocks her. Malay Lute triggers his assessment skill, revealing her true identity. Elfina Sofina est Villania, first princess. Sylphina the elf lost her memories to a mysterious artifact. A thief snatched her for a big payday, but she's shocked, asking who is this princess. Malay Lute recalls her name in the Eastern Elven Kingdom, where she's apparently the first princess. Sylphie trusts Mel and nods, but inside, she's dead serious. She trusts his strange words without question. She glances shyly, and Malay smiles back warmly. He smiles and reveals his new blessing, the evaluation skill. She's ecstatic, her face lighting up as she congratulates him. Malay Lute awkwardly thanks her and asks her to stay, questioning why the first princess isn't acting like royalty. He explains his E3 skill, lets him assess people. She whispers that an EX rank is a miracle. Malay Lute tells the princess to just play along. She considers it, finger on her chin. She asks if it's overkill, but he says it's only natural for the first princess. Sylphie, he turns to her, stunned and confused. She closes her eyes and whispers her identities doesn't matter. Mill is her everything. She smiles, rests her head on his lap, and whispers her love. Flustered, he blushes and pulls another goofy face. He stares in shock as Sylphie blinks, then breaks into a sweet smile and a quiet giggle. Blushing, the boy pulls goofy faces, sending Sylphie into a laughing fit. She laughs until her stomach hurts, and Malay Lute smiles back with a warm, tender gaze. He stands, inviting Sylphie to meet his family. She's stunned, but Malay Lute declares it their new goal. With their new ally revealed, they're heading straight for the Elven Kingdom. He asks what she thinks, but his voice says it all. This mission is now their entire world. She nods with a smile, but he warns her he's a wanted criminal, and she's in danger. She shrugs it off as long as they're together. Malay Lute orders rest before the dawn march east, but the silence is shattered by someone still swallowing their final bite. Back at the carriage, a weird chewing sound echoes from inside Mal, tells Sophie to stay back, and creeps toward the noise. A passenger spots the meat, grabs a basket, and cheers, vowing to share the feast with everyone, and the stranger spots Mel and panics. As he looks inside, she leaps out with feline speed. Shimmering ears and a tail reveal her identity. It's a cat girl. Lute's faster than the alien. He grabs its leg and slams it down, making Sylph wince at the brutal impact. Mel analyzes the status to predict every move. He orders the thief to surrender. There's no escape, and he's dead serious. He stumbles onto something soft. A stranger groans beside a meat box, asking what happened. She warns him she tastes mediocre and begs for mercy. He stops, recognizing a familiar face. Claire Koo, a 13-year-old orphaned half-tiger. Malay Lute backs off and apologizes, but she snaps. She found that meat herself, so does he really think she stole it? The boy screams she's a thief, but the girl snaps back that finders keepers is the law of nature, sparking a massive argument. Rivcom grabs the meat, vowing to return it. A wolf howl shatters the night the pack is here to hunt. As the predators close in, the girl digs her claws. A growl alerts Mao Li Luta wolves. He instantly calls Sylphie, and she rushes to his side. He orders her to hide, promising he's got this. She tells him to stay safe and bolts for the carriage without looking back. Malai Lut panics. 11 enemies surround him, and his skill only tracks one. Their intent is clear. They all want him dead. One-on-one is useless against a swarm. But then he spots a majestic wolf on a distant rock, the clear leader. Makla Lai Lut spots the leader. He locks onto the wolf, and the rest of the world vanishes. He lets out a massive wolf howl, shattering the silence. The alpha freezes, Claire blushes in shock, and the rest of the pack stares, totally clueless. He blitzes through the pack and grabs the leader by the throat, declaring the beast must now obey him. During the trial, the wolf reveals a shocker. The pack leader signals he's listening, proving he understands human speech. Mel, you were right, he can talk to him. The boy snaps back as the wolf looks up, calmly stating they mean no harm. The wolf demands why the guy shoved and insulted Clara, while the girl clutches her meat basket, watching every move. Sylphie peeks out as the boy confesses he only insulted her to steal the food she was after. The wolf is shocked, and the boy blushes hard. The wolf's law is simple: take back what's stolen. Mel Legout watches the beast's rage vanish as the alpha submits to the boy's confident grip. Wolf begs Mel to spare his surrogate daughter. He raised her on raw instinct and cannot believe what she's become. Suddenly, the girl opens her basket, eyeing another piece of meat. The wolf reveals they aren't blood-related. During a raid on a slave carriage, the girl clung to the pack for her life, and they saved her. He claims the pack as family and the girl as his daughter, shocking the boy. Malai Lut clarifies. She's technically an orphan. As the boy processes the news, the wolf calls Clara over. Dad sees his daughter stuffing her face, curious about the dish Mel Li Lut snaps at her to stop, but the girl just blushes and keeps chewing happily. Under the stars, the wolf reflects. It's been 6 months since he adopted her. She stopped eating raw meat and finally holds her tail high. He sees her as a mix of man and beast. After 6 months of watching, he's betting on her humanity, but she's still totally clueless. The wolf orders her to ditch the pack and her instincts to find her humanity with this boy, leaving Mao Lai Lud completely baffled. He apologizes for pushing, still clueless, until the wolf's thoughts flash before him. If he hadn't acclaimed her as his daughter, the pack couldn't have explained it. He passes it to the kid. Clara smiles, backing her dad. Malai Lut warns her to think twice, but her eyes burn with resolve. Clara hugs the wolf leader as he tells her to show her father her growth, while a stunned Maui Lut hits his limit. He pushes his pace, closing in on the carriage. No rest for the horse, they have to move. Suddenly, Clara pops up, tail wagging as she cheers that they're heading out. Mao Lailu wonders why she's even here. She fakes a smile, but cold sweat drips down her temples. He pulls her out and drops the truth they're being hunted as criminals. She's stunned. Could Sylphie and Mal really be guilty? He denies the claims, calls it a misunderstanding, and spends the long night explaining his situation to her. Morning breaks, and the cart horse finally rests after pulling through the night. Clara greets the morning, but a sudden noise jolts Mel and Luton awake. They're totally lost, and it's clear yesterday's explanation didn't stick. Even the wolves brought cash. Their leader explained they scavenge food and saved these funds for emergencies, but they finally realized money was useless this time. Sophie smiles, folding bedding and prepping breakfast to everyone's thanks. But what will he do when he realizes the father wolf isn't coming back? Clara shocks him with the breakfast menu leftover bread, and a hearty meat-vegetable soup. Clara loves the fresh bread and soup, while Mel Lelouf watches the girls, lost in thought dinner's served. Clara's eyes ignite at the soup, and she's already drooling over the masterpiece. She tastes the soup and loses it. It's the best meal she's ever had. Overjoyed, she thanks the duo, convinced they're the kindest people alive. Malai Luth heads east and asks the girl to join him. She salutes, accepting him as her lord. Silence falls as Clara claims the boy is her master, and Malayut's too. But the boy immediately shuts her down. Mao grins like Lu, demanding a call only once he's rich enough for a maid, while desperately faking total joy. Sylphie's shocked he's hiring a maid, but he quickly clarifies he meant something else entirely. Higio gives a cliché, awkward smile about every man's dream, but Sylphie vows to make it real, clenching her fists, ready for victory. Malai pictures Salfi in a maid outfit, welcoming him home as master, and he's absolutely hooked on the idea. Malaya shouts. It doesn't suit her. They're basically family now. Malai Lut's alone, Sylph's lost her past, and Clara's an orphan. They're traveling together as a new family. He tells Claire she's family now. Stunned, she blushes as Sylphie and Malaye meet her gaze with encouraging smiles. She beams and asks to call him Brother Mel. Reluctantly agrees, preferring it over Master. She literally glows with joy. Clara wonders if she should call Salphie sister, but Salphie jokes she's actually much younger. Clara grabs her hands, insisting on Sylphie leaning against the door. The girl smiles and accepts. Mel Lyalt watches the girls, heart warmed as Sylphie's glowing eyes beam with pure joy. Clara meows and licks a soup drop off Mao's cheek, catching him completely off guard. Silence falls. Sylphie's shocked. Mel's fuming, and Sylphie looks annoyed. He uses assessment to read her mind. She's desperate. Now Clara leans in and licks Sylphie's cheek, joking she missed a drop of soup. Sylphie laughs, face flushed from tickles. Clara lunges for a hug, but Sylphie pulls away. Clara just grins. You look delicious. Malilyut laughs as Sylphie begs for help, only fueling his joy. Clara notes Sylphie's delicate skin, finding her own tongue surprisingly pleasant. Sylphie offers her bread, but Clara stubbornly refuses. Mel watches the two with a gentle smile. Seeing the girls together triggers a warm memory of rushing to his mother, but his father's worried gaze suddenly turns that comfort into sharp anxiety. Soldiers and knights storm the church. Rubbing his hands, a man declares himself the new mayor. He greets the mysterious rider, honored to meet the legendary Mary in. He offers a hand, but she refuses. The priest's killer is a high-level criminal, and they must move now, or everyone's in danger. The living line reveals a shocker to Mariana, and the soldier's Mao Lai Lui hated his powers so much, he murdered his own father. Mariana watches suspiciously as an old man whispers to him. She drops the final bomb. Did he know the victim used the shelter for human trafficking? Rose stammers, blindsided. He denies everything, but the soldier grabs his head and slams his face into the table. Marianne orders Gazif to watch Ro and leaves without a glance. Ro is paralyzed by fear, unable to move or escape. She and an elder inspect her father's corpse. He confirms the ID. This is definitely the notorious thief, Hegla Oisa. Marianne smirks, noting only a heavyweight like Heigl would believe a thief is hiding in this church. If he's the killer, he's insanely strong. But the new mayor swears the kid is harmless. Marianne asks who he is. He's Mel, an orphan farmhand from the outskirts. He's a kind soul, who won't even strike a thief without a good reason. Mariana gets it. Gazef arrives, apologizing, and confirms the truth. This man helped the priest traffic people. Marianne realizes he's already handled it. Gazef adds that the kid figured everything out, and Marianne agrees. She admits he's no fool. He crushed that elite enemy with ease. Gazef suspects he unlocked extraordinary power yesterday. Mariana admits it's possible. She's curious, and this guy's officially caught her eye, her gaze burning with total confidence. Gazir warns no time for games. Focus on the illegal trade. Marianne smiles awkwardly, telling him to stop staring. If an elf is involved, they'll have to combine the rescue and investigation. She asks the kind leader about her friend. He hesitates, then admits the cart sped east. Gazef reveals a city of fallen heroes on the eastern border. 6 months ago, they busted a black market trader there. Mariana targets the wolf-attacked group. Interrogating these smugglers is the perfect way to get answers. Gazef's uneasy about the man's destination, but Marianne tells him there's nothing to fear. She prays to the Mother Earth statue for protection. The leader is awestruck, but her friends stay calm. This ritual is just a daily routine. Gazette spots a cat in Miyazi rubbing against Marianne's leg. The baffled men wonder where it came from and scramble to shoo it away. Gazaf baits the cat with meat. The beast lunges, and Marianne snaps her eyes open. Screaming about the investigation, she bolts in terror. The others, stunned by the disappearance, chase her down and beg her to stop. Clara's inhaling dish after dish, unable to stop. She's beaming with pure culinary bliss. Sylphie finds the food bag empty. Mao snaps, blaming Claire's generosity as she flinches in terror. Terrified, she panics and apologizes. A sweating Malai Lut joins her, admitting he also ate way too much. As the cart crawls, Malaluf drops the grim news. The next city is miles away. There's no turning back, and they need food fast. Clarice vows to replace every bite she ate. He loves the plan and suggests scouting for food, but she just laughs. Later, Sylphie looks for Clara, who suddenly bursts from the water with a pile of fish. Stunned by her speed, he asks where her clothes are. Clara leaps from the water like a frog, hurls the fish at Mel's feet, and admits the swim back was a brutal struggle. Molly Lute warns her a man nearby thinks she's too outspoken for her age, but he just shyly closes his eyes in confusion. She ignores him, insisting they're family. But he snaps. Even relatives don't have the right to act like this. Suited up, her eyes sparkled with stars as her claws hungered for blood. The girl dives into the bushes screaming. Sylphie and Mal watch coldly, totally clueless. Mal bursts from the bushes and drops a fresh kill at their feet, leaving Sylphie frozen in pure horror. Mel was stunned to rank a hunter at only 13. She was a total pro, but she just grinned, eyeing their meaty rabbit. Malay knew about superpowered humans, but Clara being one, impossible terrified, Sylphie gripped his hands. Baffled by his gaze, Clara asks if he truly has a rare skill, and he confirms it. Clara's stunned. The kid mastered skills she barely understands herself. Sylphie trembles, while the boy stays speechless. Melai Liut still doubts Clara can handle the hunt. Malai Lut addresses Sylphie, making her flinch. She never expected him to speak to her directly. After spotting a rabbit, he takes her foraging. They scour the woods for food until Sylvie finds a mushroom, which he confirms is perfectly safe to eat. This mushroom triggers uncontrollable laughter. Malai smirks, telling Sylphie one taste means she'll never stop. Sylphie thinks she knows everything, but this mushroom looks delicious. Mel says, it's a treat if cooked right. Sylphie hands him another item. Mel confidently declares it's no mushroom, leaving her eyes wide in shock. The plant isn't poison, just bitter. Even though she's shaking from the taste, the girl hands him the stem anyway. She knows she won to find anything tastier. Malelut insists these plants are super nutritious and tells them to stock up, making Sylphie visibly furious. At sunset, the group makes soup. Malal stays back but takes a bite. Stunned it isn't bitter. Fighting back tears, Sylphie warns it's bitter. But despite her lifelong hatred for the taste, Lara devours the meal anyway. Melale. Lute says these plants heal skin, leaving the girl shocked. Do they actually work? She asks him. He smiles, calling her beautiful, but insisting she keep eating. Realizing he's acting just like her father. Blushing, she shyly agrees to try the veggies for him. Hesitantly picking through her plate, she shovels the food down. Bitter veggies burn her tongue and make her insides churn, but she stubbornly refuses to stop. Clara asks if they're heading east tomorrow. A nod confirms it as she digs into the skewered meat and fish. Lute shrugs. They're short on gear, lacking pots, knives, and even clothes or blankets for Sylpha and Clara. Sylphie asks if they're shopping, but Mao just grins. A city is right around the corner. Clara gnaws on chicken and suggests a massive eastern city, but Malay Lute doubts she even knows the way. Smugglers snatched her from the city ruins. Realizing she knows the layout, Malalut decides she's their new guide. She's only ever used back alleys. Avoiding the main street, Mao ponders this as a worried Sylphie asks what's wrong. He sadly admits if Clara knows this place, it's time to say goodbye. Overcome with shame, Clara refuses to leave. She hates the idea, desperate to stay with her new family, as her fists clench in anxiety. She finally whispers that this place holds only bad memories. She was hunted here just for being born a ranger. The city was her last resort, her only home. Mel and Sylvie watch her, heartbroken. Blushing hard, she finally admits she loves it too. Watching the fire, she admits she loves van life, hunting together, and cooking for the group. Smiling, she admits she loves being a family with her brother and Sylphie. She's finally happy. Melee's stunned by her words, but he smiles. It's true they've finally become a real family. He only trusted Sylphie with his evaluation skill, but now he's spilling everything to Clara, detailing his secret talent and every wild event that followed. He explains why his EX rank skill must stay hidden. Clara, buzzing with hype, swears on the word Ragier to keep his secret. Clara drifts off under a blanket, her soft snoring filling the night, while Mal tends the fire. Suddenly, Sylphie breaks the silence and speaks up. Asked about his plans for her land, he stays silent as the fire crackles. Hitamai admits he's never thought about it, then tells a shocked Sophie he'll stay in town if she doesn't tire him out. She blushes, worried about him leaving home. But he just flashes a confident smile and agrees. He's always dreamed of escaping, but even if he returns, he can never go back to his old life. He smiles into the fire, flooded with memories. Every moment with Sylphia is etched in his heart, as long as she's there. The place doesn't matter. He confesses his dream of starting a family, and she reaches out and asks, is he actually proposing? Mila turns beet red and screams. He didn't mean it like that. It's way too soon for those thoughts. The boy flails his arms, desperately trying to prove his innocence. He realizes she's a princess, and her parents will never approve, while Clara just snores her head off. Blushing hard, the sylph nods and leans on his shoulder, confessing she's not ready either, as shame consumes her. She snaps her eyes open and confesses Mel's dream of being a family made her truly happy. She admits she wants to be family too, exactly what he needed to hear. His parents are long gone, but he knows she's still living for someone in Sylphie. He strokes her hair, promising her memories will return, and she soon drifts off on his shoulder. She nods and drifts off, so Mao blankets her to protect her peace. Mastering evaluation could restore her memories, he smiles. He's got a new mission. With only scraps of info on the first queen, he sharpens his analysis. Windows flood the silence as he scours the data for the truth. Next day, Mel Lai Lut, Clara, and Sylphie hit a massive city. stepping onto a crowded shopping street. Malai Loot cloaks up, promising to handle the crew so they can go shopping. Clara's hyped, and Sylphie hides her face to stay mysterious. Clara's safe, but they're being hunted. He warns her to keep her hood up, and she pulls it tight, quietly agreeing. They hit the butcher shop, where Clara gawks at the massive meat pile Mel promises Layla the dried meat is coming, and her tail wags with pure joy. He steers her aside, reminding her they're here for essentials, like clothes and dishes, then lets her lead the way. She spots a fountain, and her eyes go wide. Clara's confused as water blasts from the strange device, but Molly Loot explains it's drawing from the river. Stunned by the view, the girl admits it's her first time here, and she's dying to splash in the fountain. But something suddenly catches her eye, and she asks what it is. They find a sword by a monument. Mao reads the inscription. This is the city of the hero, the legend who slew the evil dragon. He died here after bringing peace, but first he drove his sword into stone, vowing only the next hero could pull it if he is stunned. Melale Loot learns everything is a mystery except the hero's sword. Looking up, he wonders, was he always overlooked? Is a secret force protecting him? Others failed, but he made it. He reads the stats. It's a legendary hero's blade worth 500 million. Every stat is maxed, except for magic attack, leaving him absolutely stunned. This is the Trago hero's legendary sword. It absorbs enemy mana for fuel. The kid's blown away, but Carla can't sense anything in the stone. This unbreakable blade grants 15 seconds of invincibility, hides its stats from others, and lets the master rewrite their status at will. Malai Loot says this item changes your status, but it's sealed. You need hero-level status to break other seals with it. Mel calls it impossible, but Carla cuts him off, spotting another sign. He finds a sign telling him to take it without shame. The cryptic message leaves him rattled and confused. Clara eagerly reaches out, buzzing with excitement. The guy feels awkward at her forwardness, then eyes Sophie, wondering if she's actually in pain. Sylvie bursts into tears, stunned. He even spoke to her. Clara rushes to help, while Mal watches the strange scene in silence. He tries to speak, but she claims something in her eye. Clara asks if it hurts, but Sylvie says she's fine. Sylvie's status shows emotional excitement. She's physically fine, but crying without knowing why. He warns her not to scare them like that again. He missed the truth by not reading closer, but she's healthy. He sighs in relief. Smiling, she apologizes for the chaos and excitedly invites everyone shopping. Clara cheers in agreement, her pure joy making Sylphie and the mayor smile. Malai Loot calls Sylphie lovely. She coyly asks if it's the dress, but he just smiles, knowing true beauty looks good in anything. Kalar glances over and notes her charm, but her short hair makes her look like a boy. Malai Loot smiles shyly at his mom, saw in hand, joking they should get a bigger jacket. Carla instantly agrees. Shopping is done. Clara's hauling a mountain of clothes, but when Mal offers to help, she's completely clueless. Insisting she's stronger than her brother, she refuses help. Later, her friends rave over the stall's tender meat. Mel devours his meal, realizing his appraisal skill guarantees the best meat without the rip-off prices. He finally sees how broken this power really is. Stuffing his face, he freezes as strangers mention a tigress named Clara. He turns, locking eyes with two men watching him closely. Clara screams they sold her to an illegal trader. But the two scoffs, calling her claims total nonsense and saying she's insane. Malal al-Aluz watches the crowd swell, fearing his wanted status will be exposed. Tension is spiking. This scene could land them all in jail. Seizing the moment, he grills the mechanic brothers. Where's Regenson's stolen Earth Mother statue? Furious, He starts pinning every crime on them at once. Mato uncovers the truth as Rato panics that their secret is out. Meet the deceitful second and third, brothers of the Auto-Train family. Known as the Mischief Trio, these brothers were instant suspects, but the oldest was missing. Panic spreads as memories of their thievery surface, and the crowd swarms. They flee in terror, but Malalut hunts them down. He considers hiding in the chaos, but Clarissa's tormentors won to escape his justice. The brothers shove through the crowd to escape until a tall man blocks their path. One brother can stop, slamming straight into a bystander. The crowd demands he move, hurling insults, but the stranger just smirks and strokes his chin. Mao Lailu freezes, watching the stranger casually apologizes, claiming he's just doing his job. His smug grin and scanning gaze scream pure superiority. The stranger grabs their heads and slams them down with a calm smile. The boy is shocked. This man just effortlessly overpowered them both. Malai freezes. Stunned, cursing his weakness, he forces a crooked smile as sweat beads down his face. He promises Clara meat for her efforts. Fired up with gratitude, her eyes ignite as she receives a steaming, perfectly square cut. The stranger hoists the criminals like rag dolls, their skulls nearly bursting as they scream for mercy. It's clear now this guy isn't just strong, he's a massive titan. The horned man demands to know if they stole the Reagans. Mother Earth statue, one thief screams in agony, but the stranger just smiles, eyes locked on them. Guilty and screaming, they beg for mercy as his iron grip crushes them. Squeezing harder, the stranger demands to know. Where is the statue? Hearing the stash is under the shelter floor, the stranger nods. Mel watches closely as he suddenly slams two heads together, repeating that he understands. Mali Lute unmasks the stranger as Musashi Kido. His status is shocking. He's a master of the two-sword style, dual-wielding blades with lethal skill. He packs superhuman strength and anti-magic to nullify spells. His Gambus armor even hardens his body instantly for clutch defense. Mountain Deer agility triples his next step. Speed. He now has 3 unique skills that perfectly cover his weaknesses. A magicless master swordsman with a bounty hunter tattoo blocks his path. The hero hasn't shown his true nature yet, but once he does, it's game over. How did Mao Lalutu spot the criminals? Will he have to split the reward? Either way, the swordsman knows he needs to vanish fast. Musashi's lucky they found the criminals so fast. Kido demands an equal split for spotting them first. Mao Lailut looks away, saying he doesn't need to know. Kido smiles, admitting it's weird despite his confusion. He shrugs it off and agrees for now. He claims he'll return the loot and turn in the thugs, but Malalut's questions make him break into a nervous sweat. Something is definitely wrong. He apologizes, snatches Kido's sword, and spins to deflect a lethal strike. The eldest Otto brother fired this shot, a cunning leader with a level D stealth skill. He blurs forward with lightning speed, disarming the villain and leaving him frozen in shock. He cleaves the crossbow in half and instantly lunges, pinning his opponent to the ground. The youth swings with style as the man begs for mercy. Drenched in sweat, he knows he's one strike away from death. The boy slams his katana hilt into the man's head, knocking him cold as Kido watches. Applause erupts and Mal flinches, expecting the worst, but it's just Kido. He's hyped by Mal's insane speed and admits he's genuinely impressed. He sees the kid use a skill identical to his Ichnia, mimicking the Mountain Deer agility he's been chasing. The kid nods. The move is a total success. He grins, reminding the kid that a samurai's blade is part of his body, and stealing it is a huge mistake. Mal. Li Lut begs for mercy, but the samurai just smiles. He's lucky, it's just a nameless blade. If it were actually damaged, Mal Li Lut would be paying the price. His blade moved with perfect skill, forcing the observer to ask who his master was. Caught off guard, he froze. He couldn't admit he'd just copied the moves. The samurai senses a secret and lets the boy keep the katana. Mel gasps, completely stunned. The merchant offers his katanas, asking if he's serious. He's already made his money and has other buyers. But Malay Lut realizes this blade is a rare treasure. Signaling it's time to settle the score, the samurai rejoins his allies as Mao Lai Lut bows in thanks for the katana. Mao's group reaches the carriage to find Mariana and Gosefa waiting. A crowd has already swarmed them as Mariana asks if they're truly sure about their decision. The old man confirms the cart belongs to the church, while Male suspects he's Brink's oppressor nearby. A hidden youth tracks their every move. Gosa confirms Mel Liut is in the city, but Mel's wandering lost while Clara plays with a frog. He considers explaining his power, but stops. An EX-level skill is too dangerous if they find out. He'll be captured and turned into a lab rat for experiments. He won't let this happen. He promised to get Sylphie home. Whistling a tune, the samurai ties up the brothers until a girl appears, calls him uncle, and asks why he's so happy. He calls Lisa annoying and tells her to stop calling him uncle since he's not 30 yet. But she counters he's 10 years older, so he's still an uncle. She points at the Otto brothers, asking who they are. He reveals they stole the Mother Earth goddess statue, leaving her stunned. Did he catch his targets that fast? The samurai smiles, giving the boy all the credit and the reward. She just shakes her head, stunned by his bizarre selflessness. The kid was a total mystery, but his movements were unmistakable. He wielded that blade with the exact same skill as O'Neill's dual sword style. He's baffled by Mel's duel. How did a human kid master the Owani's secret sword style? He's stunned. Could Mel have the heavenly eyes? It's a legendary power only the hero Arstrago ever possessed. One look, and he mastered every art. From swords to magic, decades of training took him days, and even the most complex techniques bowed to his will. If the kid has heavenly vision, he's made a massive mistake. He regrets not testing his strength, while Lisa notices his sudden panic and asks what's wrong. Regaining his cool, the samurai realizes this powerful kid is unarmed. He's a total enigma. Liza calls him uncle again, asking why he's grumbling. He brushes it off and asks how long she'll follow him. She's clear travel is expensive, so Liza offers him a job and takes her cut. Bounty hunting draws every lowlife's wrath, so the samurai warns her to leave, but she insists she's safest by his side. She reminds him he said he wasn't recruiting, but he admits that's exactly what he's doing. She asks if he's really challenging the kingdom's only heavenly eye. He smiles, calmly confirming it. The eye of heaven marks a genius, but he reached the top through pure grind. Now, he's out to prove hard work can crush natural talent. Lisa giggles, teasing great news. Smirking, she lists a priest's murder, kidnapping, and robbery. He's floored. These are high-level crimes. She confirms that the killer S still in town, but the samurai S staying out of it. He's got his money and his peace. Lisa smirks, revealing knights are in town hunting the same criminal. She challenges him to guess the order and which specific knight has arrived. He guesses. Then it hits him. It's Mariana Verdemian, deputy captain of the Red Phoenix. Lisa confirms she's a genius swordswoman with the heavenly eye. The samurai wonders, are they here to hunt the priest's killer? Lisa promises a duel if he catches the criminal first, and the samurai vows to beg for mercy on his knees if he fails. Backing down looks like fear, and her swordmaster pride won't allow it. But he has zero shame in dropping to his knees. The samurai grins, ready to hunt the criminal now. Lisa smiles back, glad he's on board. Lisa reveals the criminal snatched an elf girl, likely her target. The samurai instantly remembers Sylphie, with Clara and Mel. He asks for intel, and she reveals the target 15-year-old Mel Lai-Lut, a totally average kid with 0 standout traits. The samurai can just shake it. How could a normal 15-year-old kill a priest? It just doesn't add up. This is no ordinary kid. He looks 15, and he's got an elf by his side. A memory of Mel flashes. It's definitely the same boy. Lisa's stunned, clueless about his endgame. Mal. Sylphie and Clara stake out the crowd near the cart, waiting for an opening to push through once the numbers thin. Gazif calls for a split. Mariana agrees, but Clara steps up, demanding to know what the attackers want with their carriage, shocking everyone. She spins around, spotting a boy beside Sylphie at the corner, and Clara further back. Marianne panics at the cat ears, while Gotsef asks if this kid is Malalut. He backs away as Kosovo demands answers. Sensing the bad vibes, Lut Malay screams, "It's too creepy," and bolts. He asks to wait, but Mariana's already shaking with excitement and charges off solo. A beast man is with them, so they can handle this alone. Her hands are shaking, but she insists she's the fastest one there. She orders him to stay put and tells the old man to alert the city search parties. He bows and obeys. Clara's memory fuels her. The hero's heir refuses to retreat, but despite her resolve, she's breaking a sweat. Sylvie tells Mal to wait, but he's already grabbing her, apologizing for the rush. She stops him cold. He's completely misunderstood. She blushes in his arms, asking if she's too heavy, but his red clarification mastery makes her feel weightless. He quite knows the Red Knight, legendary swordmaster Mariana Verdamian, is watching, and her noble aura proves she's a person of true honor. She wields heavenly eyes just like hero R. Drago, letting her instantly decode any technique, absorb its experience, and find the perfect path to mastery. Lightning-fast processing and move prediction. This rare triple effect skill is a mirror image of his EX assessment, and it's making him sweat. Gaze joins the chase, and disaster looms. He charges ahead, desperate to hurry, while Clara skips along to keep up. Marianne's closing in, screaming for them to stop. Mel panics. Was Clara's dash not enough to keep their lead? He eyes the central fountain. The final hurdle, cross this, hit the street, and he's out of the city. But the carriage has to go. Marianne chases them, begging for a stop, then leaps over her allies and slams down, shattering the earth. A stern voice demands, "Who did she?" "Just order to stop." Mel and Sylphie shake in terror. He calls her a monster, but she just pouts and calls him rude. Seeing Marie pout, a baffled Malai Lut apologizes. She sighs, demanding he listen to her for a moment. Red Phoenix Deputy Captain. Marie Anne calms the crowd, promising no one's getting arrested. Malai wonders despite her kindness. Will she still trust him after seeing his powers? Or will her attitude flip? Mel Lee Lut apologizes, but Clara jumps in, mischievously asking if their games are over. Marianne screams and lunges into Mel's arms, sobbing. The crowd blushes in shock, while a clueless Clara wonders what she did wrong. Mel's stunned and tries to calm her down, but Marianne suddenly turns deathly pale as goosebumps cover her skin. Sylph's fuming, her face tight with rage, while Clara stays frozen, completely unfazed by the chaos. Malai discovers 17-year-old Mariana is deathly afraid of cats and avoids them at all costs. Suddenly, she turns to him and begs for help. Mariana apologizes for losing control. Malai Lut plays it cool, but she knows Clara is no house cat. She's a savage tiger human. What makes her so terrifying? Mol I Lut senses her weakness and asks about the church incident. She nods. He recounts the blessing ceremony while hiding his true power and Sylphie's real identity. Marianne smiles, finally understanding his brutal path. She asks if he was scared, but reminds him. The nightmare is over, he says, finally here. Melalai. Lute realizes she's pure kindness. Only the worthy become heroines. He renames her Agatas. Her warm smile makes him feel like he's dreaming. Mariana's distracted by the reports and hearings ahead, so she sends him back to the hotel. For now, Molly Lute saw this coming, exposing his power spell's disaster, and the girl is left in total shock. She asks what's happening, but a stranger corners them, shouting, "They're found." He looks them dead in the eye and drops a bombshell. He knows who killed the priest. Mal and Marianne whip around to find headhunter Musashi Kido. He smirks, cryptically warning that looks are deceiving. He's forced to make the arrest, but since resistance is fair game, he draws both katanas for a showdown. Marianne drops in to shield Mel's group and halts the fight. Baffled by his intel, but certain he's a victim, she takes him away. The cinema wonders if she'll actually stop him. He coldly warns her side with a criminal, and you're an accomplice. Malai Lute reads the hero's mind. He ignores the dying priest, focused only on the Heavenly Eyes battle. He's craved forever. He wonders, is Marianne not his true desire? Mariana screams. It's a misunderstanding, but the attacker ignores her as the fight explodes. Malay stands frozen, wondering if it's time to bolt. Musashi's itching for a fight, and Mariana finally gets it. He wasn't running from the law, he was fleeing the pure terror of Musashi's power. Mariana recognizes the technique. Are you the dual sword master? Kido. He smirks, telling her to call him whatever she likes. Their blades lock as the tension peaks. He smiles and strikes, but admits he hates it. Mariana senses something's off. He's just a suspect, not a killer, huh? She has to protect him. She's in trouble. Time to end this, but you're agile as a mountain goat. Mariana realizes dual blades are built for breakthroughs and braces for the next hit. Kido lunged with a wicked grin, warning she'd pay for underestimating the twin blade masters. Paralyzed by his words and raw fury, she couldn't move. He draws a second blade, unleashing the Kido-style's dual-wielding power and instantly hurling it at her. Paralyzed by fear, she realizes she's too slow, too. Another sword flies in. Marianne leans back to dodge. She's confident, evade one, parry the next. She spots a third sword in Kito's sheath, two in hand, one hidden at her chest. The tension is at its limit. Mal drops in, parrying Kito's strike with the sword. He gifted him as a stunned. Mariana blushes in excitement. Lute challenges Kido, but Mal steps in, telling Lute to fight him instead, and Mal's never been more serious. The samurai walks off, leaving Mariana blushing and baffled. She has no clue why Mel just defended her. Mao Lai Lu claims the boy is fully aware, testing his power against the Heavenly Eyes as pure rage twists his face. He scans the scene, thinking fast, then realizes Mao Lai Lu just used mountain under your step. Forget studying. He flips the pages, focused only on his real goal. He smiles, realizing Malay Lute holds the heavenly vision. He read his opponent perfectly. Marie realizes his power is a heavenly star, but she denies it. It's impossible. Malay Lute claims the fight and warns Mariana to stay back. She tries to reach out, but the samurai cuts her off. Confident he can dual wield with one blade, the samurai suddenly doubts himself. Did he really challenge them alone? Is he that reckless? Heido lunges with a taunt, but Malay Lute already mastered his dual blade style. Just as Musashi warned, he reads every move and shuts him down cold. Molly Lute attacks, then spots his opening. The distance is perfect. He lunges for the sword. Mariana just dodged, racing to snatch it first. Suddenly, the ownerless sword sparks with lightning melee. Lute wonders if it's magical as the blade spins wildly and zooms away. The sword flies back, and the samurai pins it down with his boot. Malai Lute asks about backup, but Kido shuts it down. He didn't ask for help, she's acting on her own, and he only wants a fair one. He asks if he's actually mad. While Liza aims from the bushes, Miles, accepting the inevitable, and ends the fight as backup arrives. The man stunned the boy just used Step of the Mountain Deer, ignoring its 15-minute cooldown. The small-leafed lizard leaps with a roar. It's not over. Stunned by his grit, the samurai watches the boy unleash the Mountain Deer Gate for a second time without hesitation. He sees it. Mel charges ahead, craving the fallout that's his true satisfaction. Molly Lute realizes a sword won't stop this determined warrior. He glances back at Marion, Sylphie, and Clara, knowing the stakes are high. One sword remains, for no escape. He's taking it head-on. Fusing Mountain Deer, Tep, and Gembu armor, he lunges at the samurai with a sonic punch. His face says it all. This strike packs insane power and takes everything he's got. Mala's fist strikes before Kido can recover. He blocks, but the impact shatters his sword instantly. Relentless blows rain down, giving him no breathing room. He shields his face, knowing Genbu's armor only works twice a day. The 10-second limit expired ages ago, but he's still pummeling Kido's face. Kido blasts lightning again. Malai realizes Musashi's hit his daily limit, but Kido doesn't stop, launching a fresh avalanche of attacks. Armed with Deergate strength and Genbu armor, he slams into Tsusashi with godlike power. He's mastered skill copying for infinite use, leaving his foe face down. Seeing the opening, he lands a final punch and shouts it's over. Hiro lands a devastating strike. Musashi collapses, drained in Malaya. Lutu's head is splitting. He copied too much, too fast. Marianne's stunned by Malay Luta's massive power. Who is this guy, really? Malai Lute drowns in Kido's feelings. His body shakes. His arm is snapped. Every move is agony, but he crawls away, desperate to escape. Mal 1 let him walk away, especially from a psycho who attacks on a whim. Mariana spots the danger, warns Mel, and shoves him aside, saving him as the threat looms over her. Mel knows, countering with a Mountain Deer strike. He body blocks for Mariana again, raising the Genbu shield. Twisted and broken, the heroes face horror as the girl screams for her savior. Sylphie and Clara freeze in shock. Then Sylphie snaps in fury. She's hit by a wave of pleasure. Mariana blinks open. Why is everything so soft? Eyes snap open to find themselves face to face, inches apart. They recoil. Sylphie screams, face red with rage, while Clara stands back, frozen and confused. Mal's stunned after accidentally falling into a kiss with Mariana. She's frozen, blushing hard and completely lost. She starts to speak, but he panics and asks what she wants. Mariana shuts her eyes and whispers for him to finally get off. He begs for mercy. But Clara suddenly appears and calls him brother, terrifying Mel. She doubted he'd shamelessly lick his sister, but Clara's eyes suddenly flashed as fangs peeked out. Mel froze in shock, desperately stammering that she'd misunderstood. Clara loves the sister scent. It's just as good as Selfie's. She leans in for a taste, tongue out, but stops cold when she notices something's off about Marianne. Malai Lute's warning flashes avoid cats and never touch them. Clara reports. Mariana's fainted, and the girl trembles in absolute horror. Mao realizes a cat just kissed her, and it was gross. But then, she spots something even more insane. Hiro orders Clara back, and they clear the distance in one massive leap. Clara's reeling as Mariana rises like a shadow. Mal senses the danger. Everything's spiraling fast. Mariana stands, eyes gleaming like a predator. Her power is spiking, but her mind is snapping. That's the E-rank trade, permanent sanity for instant combat strength. Once active, it can be stopped. Mariana erupts in a beastly roar, paralyzing Clara and Malay. The boy realizes this is no human cry, and a terrified Clara screams along with her. Marianne snaps and lunges, but Mel dodges as her blade carves into the stone. He screams for Clara to run before she gets hurt. He watches in horror as Mariana loses her mind. Did one kiss really drive her insane? She snaps back to reality, realizing her attack missed. Clara trips and falls. Malai reads Marianne's mind. She's planning to get rid of the cat. He screams for Clara to run, but she's too paralyzed with fear to move. Mal. Lailut hurls a stone at Mariana's head. She whips around in rage as he shouts his arrival, while a sobbing Clara flees the battlefield. Mary's true goal is revealed. Eliminate the shooter and clear her path. Mel saved Clara, but now he's stuck with Mariana, and she's giving him nothing, copying her skills. Levels the fight, but risks his sanity. He yells for Sylphie to hide, doubting Musashi's strength, when a stranger suddenly appears and calls her Madam. Mel spots Lizorat Kivil, Filianus' guardian and Musashi's partner, weeping with a smile and flushed cheeks. Sylphie awkwardly asks if they know each other, and Lisa's face instantly drops in pure horror. Still calling Sylph mistress, she's baffled why the girl doesn't recognize her. Mel-Li Liut screams, demanding Sophie follow her immediately. TA tries to protest, but Liza shuts him down, aiming her weapon at the man she blames for the priest's death and Musashi's defeat. Malai Lut shouts, "He's fine." Sylph follows Lisa's wary. Is he an enemy? How does he know her name? Meili spots the gun and knows. Lisa fired the shot. Marianne screams in a fury. Malai senses the danger. Mariana lunges at Liza, sword ready. Liza drops her aim on Mel, head snapping toward the girl in total shock as she closes the gap. We aim a gun at Mariana, demanding her identity. She pales, but fury ignites in her eyes. Lisa tries to intervene, but Mariana snaps, ready to slaughter everyone. Mal. Lailut realizes. Marianne is targeting the enchanted pistol. He screams for Lucy to drop the gun and run. Lucy ignores him and opens fire. Warning him to stay back, Mariana dodges effortlessly, while a baffled Liza realizes she can't land a single hit. Malaluta's heavenly sight predicts the trajectory, while Liza realizes it's all for nothing. She spins and hugs Sylphie, begging for forgiveness to save her. Sylphie freezes in shock. Mel steps up, shielding the girls. He realizes he can tank. Jinbo's hit himself, while Liza looks back, totally baffled by his move. Marianne trembles as Mal Lalut stares in shock. She watches him shield Lisa and Sylphie, frozen in place while he struggles to process the chaos. A moved Mel Lalut watches as Lisa and Sylphie trade confused looks. Marianne realizes she can kill and hides her sword. Madness takes hold, but she fights to stay in control. Mel Lalut yells, "Lisa, grab Sylphie and run." TA refuses to obey, shielding Sylph and activating Spirit Cloak of the Wind. Marianne snaps and bolts after Sylphie and Lisa, but Mal just shrugs. She's going the wrong way. She hunts for a weapon, but time's up. Liza freezes, stunned by the sight before her. Mel crosses his arms, triggers Lisa's skill, and fires a bullet. A bullet fragment catches Marianne's eye. She flinches and spins around. Lisa wonders if he can use her magic orb weaponless, while Sylphie's stunned Mal Lai Liut warns Marianne he's her biggest threat. Lisa wonders who this stranger is while Mariana snarls in rage. Malai Liud shakes, masking the agony. Even reinforced Genbu armor couldn't stop that shot from shredding his arm. Kido calls Mal a fool for not fleeing the invincible, Berserk Heavenly Eye user. Mal snaps back, but admits he'd run if he wasn't refusing to abandon Marianne. The kid's got serious guts. Kido suggests a fairy tale kiss to wake her up, leaving the flustered boy asking if he's actually allowed to do it. His eyes ignite as he plots to calm her fury. He knows her every trait, but he stares even harder, searching for her true essence. He glares at the girl in a blind rage. His skill reveals only. Mel Lut's kiss can restore her sanity. Mel's flustered, but she spots something vital, and instantly, Mariana lunges back in, blade flashing. Clutching the fallen samurai, the boy is torn between speed and terror. The boy tosses Kido aside, drawing a shout of cruelty just as Marianne ambushes their location. Kido slams headfirst into the dirt and snaps at Mel for being reckless. But Mel doesn't even flinch, his eyes locked on the mission. Malalai barely dodges Mariana's invisible strike. Her supernatural vision and raw fury make her a monster. Surveying the carnage, he realizes she's invincible, driven by a lethal obsession to. She's fighting to restrain her power just to keep people safe. With willpower like that, she's easily hero level. And Mariana's about to snap, but Malay Lute cuts her off, begging for forgiveness with a look of pure regret. He glares at Mariana, fuming. Wiping his face, he activates his powers to uncover her every secret. The girl's full profile flashes beside the boy. He sighs in relief. He's finally as strong as Mariana, reaching true hero status. Mel Lai Lute charges the sword the girl drove into the ground. Gripping the hilt, he realizes Marian should have been the first to wield it. He yanks the sword, but it won't budge. An invisible force holds it tight, leaving him stunned. Copying alone won't pull the sword, but he strains with everything he's got. Meanwhile, Mariana gears up to strike, and Mel sees it coming. Her hateful glare strikes Mel with pure horror. Remembering her scolding and her pity, Mal Lelut gripped his sword to snap her back to reality. But things were about to get way too real. He breathes deep, steadies himself, and shuts his eyes. Time to size up the blade, dive deep into the sword's soul, and uncover its ancient history. A stranger appears. Facing a mountain of monsters, a cloaked figure readies a massive glowing sword. Confused, he scans the area. Trying to figure out where he is and how he got here, he spots the stranger and instantly recognizes that shining blade. The sword's memories flash before his eyes. After surviving endless wars, the Malachite trophy realizes the sword saved lives and crushed foes, but never made a single friend. Strago stands before him. The truth hits his only companion was the sword. He senses a deep loneliness in Strago, a 24-year-old average guy turned honorary hero. Hordes loom ahead, leaving a mountain of corpses behind. After slaughtering thousands of demons, this master swordsman finally faces his ultimate challenge, a mountain-sized dragon whose shadow swallows entire cities. After 3 days of non-stop battle, the warrior calls on the gods and plunges his sword into the dragon's skull, ending the fight. He shattered his body but couldn't kill the soul, barely sealing it away. Victory became a curse as chaos dragged him into eternal, unbearable agony. Our struggle sounded like he was giving away half his soul. Our struggle is etched into the boy's soul, as if he lived it. Paralyzed by anxiety, he faces the hero himself. It's no myth. The man who killed the dragon is standing right in front of him. If the soul leaves the body, prepare for eternal, inescapable torment. Strago asks if he understands the sword's cursed fate. He brandishes his small sword, dead serious. Can you handle this burden of fate? If not, run now. Man and boy lock eyes, refusing to yield. Gripping his blade, the boy vows to live with dignity. Keeping his secrets hidden, he levels his sword and demands what? Malai Lut eyes the blade and refuses to back down. Strago's impressed and tells the boy to bail, but Malalut objects. He can't, shocked. Strago wonders what's actually holding him back. He draws his sword to save Mariana, his resolve absolute. He admits he's here for his own reasons. Malai excitedly asks if it's that bad. Grinning, he assures them it's not bad. At all. He admits it. Saving the world was an excuse. He lived for the fight. Can he ever deny the truth? Impressed by Strago's honesty, a stunned Malay Lut pauses, then cautiously asks a question. He wonders if Ars Drago has regrets, staring into his blade's reflection. Ars Drago waits for the answer. Any regrets? The boy admits it instantly, confirming his own doubts. Bornitz is mostly satisfied with his life. Malay Lut asks if the struggle was worth it, and he says yes. His weakness let the youth seal the evil dragon. Mao Lai Loi is stunned. This legend is a total weakling. His S rank. Stats are all minus tier, barely matching the power of a standard hero. Suddenly, a status window flashes before him. Mel Lai Lut reveals Dragos. Heavenly Eyes are only C rank. Mariana's level is higher, but her influence is weak. Astrago asks if the guys checked Reddit, and he admits he's already scouted Astrago's abilities. Reading isn't enough to kill the dragon. You need seals. Understanding it is like dying, making the boy question his trial. But Malai Lut thinks that's too harsh. Strago smirks, challenging the boy to read it, then steal it. If he pulls it off, he's earned the title of Strong Strago. Knows one day, this kid will surpass every legend in history. Ars wants the boy to steal the book and feel the curse firsthand. Malai's stunned, assuming he means the dragon, and asks if the curse is actually terrifying. Strago tells him to stay calm and trust his power. Buffing this beast was a soul-crushing struggle, even for a legend. But what if two heroes appeared instead of one? Stunned, the scavenger questions Stragus, could two heroes really be here at once? Stunned by the question, Strag declares they'll never meet again, parting with Shavant and a final warning from Malai Lutu. Beware of fairies. Confused, the boy wonders if the same fairies forged his blade. The Strategos explains they aren't allies or enemies, so he can fully harness their power. It's time to say goodbye. Arstrago stops for one last word, holding out the sword and asking, "Are you truly ready to take it?" He snatches the sword from Strago, vowing to draw the blade. Arstrago warns. His mind is racing and tells the boy to stay sharp. Shocked to find the sword already in his hands, the warrior nods. The hero warns fate is coming whether the kid likes it or not, and resisting it will be a brutal, soul-crushing trial for the future chosen one. He needs the power to shatter fate's chains alone. Arstrago explains every detail with deadly focus. Malai Lut does to know what's coming, but he'll face any challenge to avoid the pain he fears most gripping. Strago smiles at Malai's optimism, envious of his bold spirit. He looks relieved, finally free, until Mal suddenly floats into the air, eyes wide with terror. Ars Draj orders them forward, boasting divine eyes, stronger than the heavenly gaze. He dubs Mel Leluda their lord, but the confused boy just charges in with his sword. Arstragot, grants the boy the EX rank for his unique power. Malai's confused, but she cryptically notes everyone knows her name, though no one's seen her face, grinning as Strago's voice fades as sparks fly, and a blinding light swallows the boy's vision. Arstragos declares herself humanity's protector, the true goddess. Malai Lut returns to reality, steals his resolve, and rips the hero-S sword from the stone. Mariana and Keto freeze in shock, while Sylphie, Lisa, and Clara watch from the bushes. Crowds flood the square, drawn by the massive rumble and rushing to investigate. Mel pulls the sword, and his mind fogs. Arstrago's legendary blade shimmers in his hands as he reels from the shock. Mao Lailu's head splits with agony. His legs give out, dropping him onto a stone. He's shaking, but he won to let go of his sword. He remembers his guardian's warning faster thoughts aren't enough. Don't drop your guard just because you're armed. Mel knew exactly what Arstrago meant. Agony stabbed his heart like a blade, while Mariana stood frozen in total shock. She snapped back, rage surging. Malai Lut knew it was all on him. He had to kill these marriage plans now. She lunges her sword at him, and he instantly braces for the strike. He drops low and rockets up, catching Marianne Ai off guard as she freezes in place. Maole Lut blurs right in front of her. He's moving too fast to predict. He's stunned as his body suddenly moves at lightning speed. No skills, yet he's faster than the Deer Mountain technique. The gap between S and A rank is insane. Mariana battles Malo. She tries to dodge, but he's relentless, spamming non-stop attacks. He triggers the hero sword's unique skill, unleashing a massive blast. The Fairy King's divine protection awakens. Mariana's clueless, unable to process the chaos around her. She strikes repeatedly, but he's untouched. With 15 seconds of Fairy King protection left, he feels zero pain. That's the power of a true hero's sword. Sword in hand, he screams Marianne's name and pulls her close, cupping her face as he begs her to wake up. The hero pulls her close, refusing to let go. He pulls her in for a kiss, and her sword slips from her grip. Marianne's eyes widen as she hurls her sword. The crowd freezes. Sylphie shakes with rage, and Lizzie is totally lost. Spiraling emotions nearly send the sylphs flying. Lisa's paralyzed by anxiety, while an invisible wall divides Melalut and Mariana. She slowly pulls herself together. Blushing hard, he musters the guts to ask for her forgiveness. She loses her balance, her legs buckling instantly. Maul, Lai Lui snaps back to her senses and spots Maul, while Lai Luta gasps for air and shyly looks away. Mao Lai Lut triggers his spiritual protection and ascends. He spots Mariana staring in shock, still reeling from the trauma and totally lost in the chaos. He took flight, staring down at the crowd below. The crowd watches as the boy's hero sword glows. He takes flight and calls for Clara, who bursts from the bushes and flies to join him. She pulls him close, embracing him gently. Clara trembled, certain she was dead, but the boy's warm smile promised her safety. She cheekily licked his skin, leaving the stunned boy asking why. Clara admits she uses this trick to stay calm whenever fear strikes. She admits she does it for fun. Lisa and Sylvie watch. Sylvie blushes in shame, while Lizzie glares with disgust. Malai Lut demands a serious talk, urging Lisa to follow him somewhere. They want to be overheard. Hesitating, she finally gets it. Grabbing Sylphie, she follows Mel, who's carrying Clara. Mariana stares in shock as Mal Lut and the others fly away. Her face burns, her sword lies abandoned, and her heart hammers in disbelief. That first kiss felt like a fluke. She remembers Mel and Liluta's shocked faces right before he rushed in to save her. He grabs her cheeks again, pulling her close. She touches her lips and whispers his name. Mel, he stares at the sky in awe, while her heart races out of control. Terrified and sweating, Gosef rushes to her side to check if she's okay. His desperate tone makes her flinch and blush in surprise. The ghost freezes, stuttering an awkward apology and asking if she's hurt. She says she's fine, just tired. Mariana hangs her head, admitting the pain she caused just to remember. Overwhelmed by guilt, she realizes her sin is unforgivable. She springs up, asking about the wounded Gazef. Reports only one bounty hunter was hit. Mariana blames the bounty hunter for the chaos and orders Ghazi to interrogate him. He nods and moves out. Mariana exile. Everyone's safe, but she barely escaped death. Her ego and rage almost cost her everything, leaving her face masked in pure sorrow. She blushes, fingers tracing her lips as she looks down. Only one thought remains. He stopped her. Gosef calls Mel's actions unforgivable, but the girl shrugs. It's not even worth discussing. She fidgets and blushes, brushing it off like those kisses were nothing special. Flustered, the girl fidgets, while Gosef clarifies he meant the hero's sword. She screams in shame. Gosef explains the hero's sword was a national treasure, and its loss devastated the kingdom now. All eyes are on the empty stone, where the legend once stood. Mariana says he's worthy of the sword. Everyone had a shot, so Don to blame the kid. Gosef agrees she's right, but insists on the tombstone's official procedure. Mariana asks if it's really theft, when the sign says, "If you can, take it." Soldiers drag the samurai away as he yells about his broken arm, but Marianne steps in, taking full blame for the city's danger and vowing to fix her mess. Reality hits. She messed up, and the guilt is suffocating. Gosef asks if she's serious at Marianne just smiles, refusing any favors with a look of pure trust. A car tears down the road. Liza drops her gaze, consumed by despair. Clara spots an inn and decides to stop, hoping the cozy vibe will finally let them talk. Wait, let's look at the original again. Sonny, Clara. Solfina holds his hand, making Liza worry they're getting too close. Malai Lute spots Liza's eerie smile and wonders what it means. An infinite distance stretches ahead. Clara's stomach growls in despair, but Malai Lui smiles and tells the girls it's time to find food. Liza talks to a soldier, but Malai Lute interrupts to ask for lunch first. She confronts him. How does he already know her name? The stranger notes she hasn't introduced herself, earning a cold glare. Maluli awkwardly promises to explain later as the girl sighs in frustration. Sit down, a feast of meat and veggies awaits. Melilute warns against overspending, but rewards Clara's obedience with a massive celebration. Clara glows. Lisa stays seated, her face frozen in dissatisfaction. Solfina's mesmerized by her meal, shouting delicious and tuning out the world. Meanwhile, Malay Lute sweats nervously, wondering why everyone's staring. He tells Lisa to dig in, but she politely refuses to eat. The girl glares at the guy while he laughs awkwardly. Solfina turns to Felania, who smiles and convinces Lisa that food tastes better when shared. Lisa blushes and agrees instantly, since Lady Solfina gave the word. Mel notices her acting different, but remains totally clueless, certain he hasn't done a thing wrong. They start eating, but he suddenly spots something unexpected. Solfina savors a mesmerizing meal, but Liza suddenly breaks, melting into tears like never before. Clara asks what happened, but Lisa's just relieved Mrs. Solfina Estvalania is back. Shaking with excitement, she breaks into tears of joy. Sofina is Lisa's angel and entire worldly loot, and Sofina watch her in total awe. Mocked by classmates for her failing magic, the talentless girl still had Ms. Solfina Estvalania, seeking the mother goddess's guidance. Lisa joined the guard, surviving every struggle thanks to Mrs. Solfina, and now she can't stop crying. Sulfina est Felania has vanished, and she's hit with a surge of desperate excitement. Wiping away tears of joy, she's finally found her mistress Sulfina, and Mal share a warm smile. Sulfina blushes, and a shy Lisa introduces herself. Bowing low, she introduces herself as Philly's guardian, but just call her Lisa. Malai Lute bows politely and introduces Clara, but his warmth vanishes when she strikes a flashy pose. He's clearly insulted by her behavior. Sulfina est. Velania goes by Sylphie, preferring the casual name called out for her informal tone. She just shrugs. Her past is a total blank, and royal etiquette means she admits that's why she wants to be Liza's friend, then stares her down, waiting for a reaction. Lisa screams in protest, but Sulfina ignores her, declaring the deal done. Reaching out with a smile, she says, "Now we're friends." Liza shakes her hand, leaving the girl flustered. Lelius introduces himself with a wink and a smile, but she coldly refuses his handshake. Sylvia, Clara, and Lisa soak in the bath, while Clara goes wild splashing. Lisa wipes Sylphie's back and tells Clara it's too cramped, but the excited girl charges in anyway. Isa and Sylvia gape at Clara, unable to believe their eyes. Let's go with Liza and Sylvia gape at Clara, frozen in pure shock. Lisa compares her slim frame to Clara's curves and snaps that size isn't everything, leaving Sophie stunned. Clara calls her size a burden and envies them, but they suspect she's just being sarcastic. Clara's shocked. Why are these forms so huge? Sophie looks to Liza for answers, but she just turns bright red. She dreams of having a baby with her lover. Clara sympathizes, but Lisa is still torn and hasn't made her choice. Clara vows to sacrifice everything for her brother, leaving Lisa and Sylphie stunned. She promised Lisa and Sylphie the same. Lisa gives a puzzled grin, finally catching on Sylphie, shaking with hype. Shouts, "If there's a baby, we need a wedding." She screams no marrying Mel Liluta, and Clara agrees she'll stay family. But Sylphie warns no wedding means no babies. Confused and blushing, she asks if marriage is even necessary before freezing in shame. Malalai Lute stares out the window, eavesdropping on the whispers behind him with a flushed, curious face. He's holding his breath for something big, yet stays eerily calm as he gasps. He eyes the sword, staring into the blade's cold gleam. He remembers the dragon still exists, and deep sadness fills his eyes. At the window, he realizes if dragons are real, he must study this world to find them. He snaps back as Lisa tells the girls it's time to grow up. Clara pouts, indignantly demanding an explanation. The trio is stunned. Mel stands jaw-dropped and exhausted, blood gushing from his nose as the girls spot the massive nosebleed. Liza wonders if his nosebleed is from what he heard, but Mal Lalut denies eavesdropping, despite hearing everything. Sulfina rushes over worried, but he wipes the blood and insists he pure. Malai once tried reading about a sealed evil dragon, but it drained his energy. Lisa's hooked, so Malai promises to reveal his secret skill once her hair is dry. Lisa's never seen an EX rank evaluation skill before Malai Lute suggests he can find the dragon by reading the world. But Lisa's instantly suspicious. Getting Maloli's intel was brutal. His body hit its limit, and Lisa explains that's why his nose started bleeding. Mal says the dragon wakes in 16 years, but Lisa warns if someone speeds it up, it could wake tomorrow. Melly Lute thinks a tougher body sharpens his judgment, so Lisa tells him to start training. Malaya looks miserable, so Lisa mocks his fear of the training. She demands his stats. If he's the hero with the legendary sword, what can he actually do? Checking his skills, he's stunned. He's way stronger than before. One look at his stats confirms it. The growth is real. Most of that negative data just flipped positive. Leveling up is brutal. Jumping from E to D rank takes a full year of training. Strago's words echo true. Strength is the will to act. A new fire ignites, fueling his confidence to push forward. Mel skips the assessment skill info dump. He speaks, and the girls hang on every word. Stealing anything material or magical boosts his stats and grants. P rank is key. An S rank hero earns way more experience from the same book than a D rank. He realizes he's about to hit a massive power spike. Every stolen skill and experience stacks with his own, fusing together to skyrocket his stats to god-tier levels. He reveals the secret master, a hero's strength and soul to double your power. Now, he faces the dragon with the might of two heroes, shifting the balance of power forever. A long-haired girl demands a talk at a luxury mansion, but the owner barks back, calling her a walking plague and telling her to beat it. The girl screams, asking what she did wrong. From behind the door, a man barks at her to shut up. The woman swears a deadly curse. She's trapped deep in a gloomy dungeon. At 7, Mariana Vardemian already aimed for knighthood. No one dared mock her. Her dream was too powerful to question. Hopes were sky high, even before her blessing. She'd already manifested a rare, perfect skill. Her power Berserk. His powers were built for battle. Known as the Eighth Wonder, she was a god. Blessed prodigy at 15, but her happiness was cut short. The warrior collapses on the field, his body torn to shreds. Heroine clashes with the tiger. In a desperate duel, sparks fly. Her blade skewers him instantly. She's hyped to the limit, eyes blazing. He's stunned her. Raw power is straight up terrifying. The girl ends the fight, finally slaying the monster. Kneeling in a pool of blood, she froze in silence. Nobody expected Berserker mode to change a person this much. At just 9, her life changed forever. She won the battle, but her power was deadlier than any monster. They locked her up for 6 years. Celestial vision gave her a hero's freedom, but the Berserker's madness returned, putting everyone's lives on the line. Behind bars, Keto admits this is why she's here. Slaying a saber-tooth at 9 left her with a pathetic, unexplainable fear of cats. He notices she's sincere too. Kando notices her sincerity, wondering if she's just talking to calm her nerves. She's fully aware. Her tiny mistake almost cost someone everything. Hito admits he's injured, and she immediately asks if it's his own fault. Keto smirks. Mariana recalls. He struck first and got his arm snapped. He knows he's been exposed. He claims he was just hunting the Holy Father's killer, but Mariana reveals witnesses saw him lurking in the shadows. Keto denies it, calling it a total misunderstanding. Silence. Keto racks his brain, trying to remember the guy's name. Marianne's cheeks flush red. Keto's stunned by the power needed to claim the hero's sword, and Mariana backs him up. He pulled the sword by the book, but she just smirks. Is he mad? The hero's heir was the one destined for that blade. She wonders if those words actually hit home. She knows inheriting the hero's will is an honor, but the burden might crush her. Looking down, she admits he's carrying this burden because of her. Wish I'd found that sword sooner. Keto's eyes widen. He never expected her here. He smirks. Who's she kidding? She's too weak to even lift that sword. Keto weighs his next move. She joined the central unit on the condition she never goes berserk again. She's hoping for an exception, but is ready for the punishment. She failed to become a heroine, so it's back to house arrest. Knowing the truth, she doesn't hold back, and drops the question anyway. He asks her to rejoin the Knights, but she refuses, demanding the mission to find and bring the hero back herself. The hero's sword is the kingdom's ultimate power. Keto mocks her for being too serious, saying he can't stand people like her. Mariana drops a sarcastic apology, but he hates it. To him, that's a completely different story. Keto calls the reason weak and demands their true desire. He wonders why she's hunting for his trail. Is she really this obsessed with the hero and his legendary sword? Every moment with Mio floods back. She shuts her eyes, grips his hand, and screams with everything she's got. She admits her heart finally raced for him. Mel strolls through the woods until a weird noise stops him. He turns to find Clara frantically digging for something and asks what she's doing. She claims she was just fighting the wind to stay decent and cover her tracks. Mel apologizes for being blunt, but warns her to watch her mouth. Clara starts gagging, putting Mel on high alert. Sensing something's wrong, he frantically asks if she's okay, gripped by a sudden dark unease. Clara says puking is just a cat duty. Mel wonders, is she a cat instead of a tiger? He asks if she's human or tiger, and she proudly shouts she's half tiger, so she's still human. That sound again. He freezes still. Puking cats do that. She's more feline than human now. Mid-meal, Lisa asks about his future, catching a shocked Sophie off guard. Mao stalls over bread, avoiding heavy thoughts. After losing her gear where the hero died, she's restocking on a whim, but her real plans go way beyond a simple shopping trip. Mao asks if Layla's heading to the Elfland to return Solfina, but Liza reveals the girl has total amnesia. She insists restore Sylphan Estfalania's lost memories first. Movlai Lut suggests waiting for the Elven land, but first, she needs her memories back, she agrees. Lisa then asks Sophie if she's heard the divine voice, but ahas. Liza expected this. She tells Sylphie her light powers are gone, but insists she's still the only one receiving divine revelations. Guided by a divine vision, she hunts for a hero in secret. Malai Lut asks if it's a secret, and she confirms if the truth leaks, the world falls into chaos, and Mel Lut nods, and the girl sets off only for the legendary bandit Gagliois to block her path. She asks why Solfina lost her memories. He reveals a strange elixir, triggered a curse of forgetfulness. Liza says only a master wizard can break the mental curse. Molai Lut pauses to scan the world for a master mage, but a sudden gale erupts. Lisa worries he'll get another nosebleed, while Clara just keeps eating without a care. Mel. Liluit says a witch town is a few days away. It's perfect, but she's ancient. Liza thanks God, pouring her entire soul into every word. Malai Lut suggests a cart, but Liza has a stop to make first. Mel watches Lisa talk to strangers on the stairs. He overhears her promise. Solfina Estfalonia lost her memories, but she'll definitely get them back. She found a true hero, and her friend thinks he's a total hunk. She's hyped for the journey, so they order the news spread nationwide. Mao Lai Lu smirks, obsessed with his own genius. He solved the mystery solo, found the heroic heir, Sulfine Estfalania, and is heading home to report his arrogance. They roll toward a village as a storm hits, leaving the streets deserted and dark. Is anyone here? Malai spots shadows. People are hiding, and Sulfina wonders why they're staying silent. Wind howls through the ruins of a fallen city. Malai Luth spots a man creeping between doors, searching for something vital. The hero stares in total shock. She sprints through the halls, pounding every door, begging to be let in, or just heard. Visius senses trouble as a girl is kicked out, branded a walking plague for destroying the city's peace. They blame her grandmother, but the girl screams back. She's no plague. A girl weeps, blaming the ruler instead of her grandma, but a voice from the house roars back, refusing the guilt. Shaking with fear, she curses the speaker. Lilut discovers her real name is Nanali Zeta, the granddaughter of a true witch. The house questioned her worth. They called her clumsy, and Nanali shuddered. Looking around awkwardly, she explains, "It's not clumsiness. The curse rebounds on the caster, so she refuses to use it. She heads to the next house but stops cold." Spotting Mel, she panics and asks who he is. Extending her palm with splayed fingers, the girl threatens with a curse again and demands to know who they are. Meanwhile, Malay Lute finally realizes that he is dealing with an extremely difficult person. He tells her to listen first. Trembling with excitement, she pours them tea, invites them to help themselves, and then escapes from everyone to the farthest corner of the room. The girl trembles, asking what they want. Malay Liut says they're here to have her grandmother break the curse. Reflecting on how to lift the curse, the girl sadly says that her grandmother is not around. When asked when she will return, she just shrugs, perhaps she won to return at all. Tears well up in her eyes. According to rumors, it is her grandmother who is accused of bringing the curse of decline upon the city. However, she is convinced that the old woman is being suspected unjustly. According to her, the officials came and threw the grandmother into prison she may never return. The reason for the decline was the ruler's misguided policies, but all the blame was placed solely on the grandmother. She keeps crying, but Lisa just sighs. It's a routine. Rulers here always blame spirits for their own failures. Bitter and full of regret, she wonders how they'll ever break Selfie's curse now that she's captured. Clara pities them, eyes the sobbing Nanali, and declares they're saving this grandma. Tears quickly dried on Nanali's face as she lifted her head. Sulfina est Felonia said, with a hint of indignation in her voice, that she was also fed up with innocent people being unjustly accused. Mel feels an unwavering confidence. Everything happening around threatens pain and loss to many. The surroundings constantly seek his advice, as if looking for clues on how to avoid disaster, but the foreboding does not leave him even for a moment. She nods, certain they'll save her grandma. He vows to make everyone happy. At dusk, the group hits the rocks and takes flight, masked by wind spirits like a flock of birds. Nanali, engulfed in fear, gasps that it is too high. They land on the Lord's balcony. The guards are completely unaware of their presence. Silence fills the hall as all eyes follow Malay Lute, and Anali, Malay, spots a drowsy guard. But Anali rushes ahead for her grandma. Suddenly, the soldier slams her against the wall and, blushing, Malay Lute sighs into her hand. She looks back, but the soldier has already vanished. Finally, he releases his hand from the girl's mouth, hurriedly apologizing, assuring her that it all happened by accident. Listening to her thoughts, he learns that she considers him shameless, wants to cast a curse, and is completely confused, not knowing how to act next. Downstairs, a lone guard blocks the doors Melly's shocked his grandma inside. She's relieved one guard is an easy target. The guard's about to collapse. Malalu considers striking, drawing his sword to check on Drago, the hero sealed within. Before the guard's eyes, everything suddenly changes. Events unfold so rapidly that he doesn't even have time to realize what has happened, when Mao Lai Lud silently appears behind him. With a sharp elbow strike to the neck, Mal Lelut instantly knocks him unconscious. After examining the unconscious man, he finds a key on him and carefully places everything as if he had simply fallen asleep. With the key in hand, Mal Lelut opens the door, confidently behaving as if this is exactly where he belongs. Behind the bars of the dungeon, Nanali notices her grandmother, and the old woman immediately recognizes her granddaughter. The surprised elderly woman asks why she is there. The girl replies that she has come to rescue her. The grandmother reminds her that she had instructed Nanali to leave the city. As soon as Mal Lai Liut opens the dungeon, Nanali throws herself into her grandmother's arms in tears. Clara, Sulfina Estfalania, and Mal Lai Liut stop at the threshold, watching the touching scene. Curiously observing the guests, the grandmother asks how they are related to her granddaughter. Maule Lut reveals they're here to break the oblivion curse, but Grandma scoffs. Won't saving a criminal land them all in jail? Nanali, loudly and despairingly proving her innocence to her grandmother, receives only a restraining gesture. The old woman persistently asks her to be quiet. Her stern gaze slides to Sylphanesta Felania, and she immediately decides this little elf is undoubtedly under the influence of a wicked curse. Burning the elf with her gaze, she quietly utters that she now understands everything. Grandma hugs Nanali, promising to lift the curse if she helps her escape. Joy filled the girls' faces. Everyone expressed their gratitude to her. Only Mel Lelut remained quietly silent, observing the mood of the others. A suggestion is made to leave this place immediately. It is then that Mel Lelut starts a conversation, cautiously asking if she can ask something. Everyone is staring at her in surprise, while the grandmother patiently waits for a question. Ma, Dialai Lut asks Zeta why she cursed this city. Sofina Estvelania does not take her eyes off the stunned Malin Zeta, has undoubtedly cast a curse on the city, and the ruler, not realizing it himself, blamed her for everything. Her hidden wish to be caught cursed the town. She asks if he's finished, but Ali breaks down, screaming, "Grandma is innocent." Grandma snaps, demanding silence, as Malai Lut realizes she glares, demanding, "How will you prove your words?" Clearly realizing that this grandmother will refuse to acknowledge the truth, he understands she seeks to shift all the blame for the city, his decline, onto the ruler and the townspeople themselves. She planned everything so that at the moment of the verdict, she could declare they condemned the innocent, thus cursing her accusers. Mel Lai Lut hangs his head. Suddenly, Ramatir Zeta asks what is happening here and why there is such silence. Spreading her arms to the side, she confusedly states that she has done nothing. Her granddaughter immediately comes to her grandmother's defense, however. The main difficulty is that even if she is helped and freed now, she will still deliberately allow herself to be captured again. Therefore, it is time to finally resolve this issue. Malai Lut asks a direct question. Will she continue to pretend innocence? If she won't confess, Nanali is the next suspect, because her rare curse is top tier. Noticing that the grandmother's skills significantly lag behind those of her granddaughters, it is not hard to guess why people suspect her of casting a curse on the town. Grandma laughed. The whole town knows Nale is no witch. Nanali smiles sadly. Malai remembers being called clumsy, but she avoids curses. She knows magic boomerangs always return to the thrower, on every occasion. Zeta relentlessly reminded Nanali about the danger of curses. Both in the city and far beyond its borders, she repeatedly conveyed these warnings to her granddaughter. The mere mention of witchcraft or curses instilled genuine terror in the girl, so she never dared to practice magic, and the townspeople were completely unaware of her abilities. The question from Malailuid was directed at Zeta. This was exactly what she wanted. She personally ensured that Nanali did not use any magic, although the girl truly has a talent for it. Rama's just guessing and talking trash. Clueless about magic, she's convinced being a witch is a total waste. She only lifts curses, but people keep begging her to ruin others. The death of Annalie's parents in a tragic accident forced her to stay in this city, take care of herself, and heal her wounds. The city had rotted to its very core, with decay and suspicion long reigning in its streets. Those around her did not believe in her magical abilities. Instead, they whispered that she was not a witch, but a harbinger of curses. The rumors spread so much that even the local governor once turned to her for help. Malai asks why she cursed the city, but the girl denies it. Malai counters. If she hates the place so much, why hasn't she left? When the grandmother did not respond, Malay spoke instead, explaining that the reason was that they could not leave because Nanali did not want to leave the city where her parents were buried. The The girl cast a curious glance at her grandmother, who avoided meeting the puzzled gaze of her granddaughter. Malailut explains the city was doomed. In this wasteland, Nanali is forced to leave. Nanali addresses her grandmother, who, filled with bitterness, looks closely at her granddaughter. She notes that Mel and Lot-S rating seems quite high, and emphasizes he understood everything as it should be. Grandmother, grabbing her granddaughter by the hand, cried and confessed that she had never wished for her to end up in this city. She wanted a normal life, but despair drove her mad. Despite her vows, she ruined everything. Nanali offers comfort, but Grandma admits the truth. She cursed the town, and now she's paying the price. Natalia's tears become even more abundant. She admits that she was wrong. The city is by no means cursed, as it was she who managed to lift this curse from it. Grandma's shocked. Mel wonders if a city can be cursed in secret. Can it be saved the same way? The answer is a hard yes. Nanali reveals she secretly broke her grandma's curse, fearing the old woman will do something reckless. Grandma's stunned, left, speechless. Terrified, the nanny knew exactly where to go. She'd been watching her every move. Terrified, she watched her grandma break every curse, holding her breath and never missing a ritual. I tracked every move of the witch I was obsessed with. She confesses she can only lift curses and begs for forgiveness, desperate to keep her grandma by her side forever. Tears well up in the grandmother's eyes. Malailut reports that thanks to Nanali, the curse did not have time to take effect on the city, so no one was harmed. They ask why the city declined. He confirms Nanali was right. It's all the ruler's fault. Despite the feeling of a hidden secret, he decides to read the city once more and uncover everything related to the ruler. Complete concentration is necessary. He must discover the truth. Tension rises. Everyone is holding their breath in anticipation. Yaliut finally does not hide his feelings and openly calls someone a scoundrel. Seeking cursed power, the ruler ordered a couple to fetch a witch. They refused, so he trapped and murdered them, staging it as a tragic accident. However, the witch admitted that she could not cast curses, mistakenly believing her powers to be lost. The ruler, believing her, left her in peace. And when he realized that he could not curse his enemies, he decided, without wasting time, to simply eliminate them one by one, justifying each time that it was an unfortunate accident. After a long journey, he rose to the highest power in these lands, but only a few years passed before his position rapidly wavered. Seeking a way out, the ruler hastily shifted the burden of his own mistakes onto the sorceress, blaming her for all the troubles, and declaring that the root of all misfortunes was a curse placed by an old witch. The gloomy gaze of Malaya flashed in the crowd, and he coldly turned away. He declared that he was leaving. As always, they immediately followed, eagerly asking where he was headed. Stopping, he casually threw over his shoulder that he intended to teach a scoundrel a lesson. Liliut casually strolls through the halls, ignoring the shouting guards as they scramble to surround him. Selfina watches in terror, praying he'll be okay, while Lisa and Nan, Grandma wonders if he really intends to head to Guta Borvo Nanali, is curious if he at least knows where to look for him. The castle is huge. Lalut gestures for everyone to follow him. Cautiously, keeping to the side, he asks them to try not to attract the guards. Attention Sulfina est Felania. Inquires about his plan. Malaluth wanted a loud entrance, but the trap just snapped shut. Bars behind, guards ahead. He's pinned with no escape. Before him stands Guta Borvel, the ruler himself. After reading what was written with his skill, he laughs and asks how he managed to get here, and meanwhile, Malalut is pondering how to lure him outside. He He threatens to severely punish the guards later. The other guards, frightened by these words, even flinch in fear. Mel-Lai-Lut wondered if he was the ruler of these lands, and the Lord is filled with astonishment. Did she really recognize him? Smiling self-satisfied, he declares nothing strange, for he is the Lord of these lands, Gut Borvel. Malai-Lut notes to himself what an unpleasant type this is. Ma-Alai-Lut's gaze piercingly directs towards him. He solemnly declares that he has come to put an end to his dark deeds. Shocked, he demands answers. Maolai-Liut calmly exposes his secret. He murdered rivals and innocents, framing them as accidents. The ruler is baffled, demanding an explanation for the Mole-Lus openly admits he obtained his position by killing those he disliked. 7 years ago, on a snowy day, he took the lives of Nanali's parents to force the witch Zeta to appear in these lands. This truth shocks all the girls, especially Nanali. The girlish grandmother stands frozen in shock. Only fear is reflected in her eyes. The Lord, losing his composure, exclaims that this is nonsense, and sweat rolls down his face like hail. How is he going to confirm his words? Malay-Luth calmly states that he has the ability to see visions of the past. The Lord angrily exclaims that all of this is nonsense and malicious slander. Mel-Lai-Lut calmly reminds him that in the winter of the year before last, disregarding the protests of local residents, it was he who ordered the mountain to be surveyed according to the same principle. Mal-Lai-Lut explained that there was a rockfall, which he immediately reported to the capital, placing the responsibility for the incident on his deceased political opponents. Barely holding back tears, Nanali covers her mouth with her hands, trying to hide her despair. Her grandmother watches all of this with a gaze filled with hatred. Malai-Lut asks whether he should tell the whole truth about them. Drawing his sword, Malai-Lut solemnly promises to take responsibility for all his sins and will spend the next days in prison awaiting the arrival of the authorities. Master rages on, roaring even louder. The guards are convinced that such behavior could be expected from Huta. Some would even be surprised if he hadn't acted in such a way. Such a prank is completely in his style. They aren't fighting the man, but the throne itself a hard truth to swallow. The ruler snaps, ordering his guards to seize the rebel, but his tiny stature makes him look like an angry child throwing a tantrum. Malai-Lut had a premonition that this would happen. Sword and sheath in hand, he wonders if it's time for brute force. Malai-Lut watches in shock as a new threat closes in. A man with thick mustaches, a scarred face, and a bandaged head sharply asks why everyone is frozen in place. Could it be that someone is really afraid of a child? The master bursts out in outrage. They have finally appeared, but where have they been all this time? Next to the stern stranger stands a fighter clad in armor, who suddenly begins to make strange sounds resembling those of a child. His brother's clumsy sounds prove he needed armor. The Lord points at Mel, ordering his capture, keep him alive for interrogation. The man tries to make Mal-Lalut listen. Even those who were crying instantly fall silent when they see them. However, he doesn't manage to finish the sentence. A loud blow from Mal. Lalut knocks him off his feet. His armored companion shouts to his brother. Another warrior in armor charges into battle, but he too will face defeat. Maolai-Lut effortlessly delivers a blow straight to the stomach. His opponent can only groan in pain, unable to utter anything more. The bishop is engulfed in trembling, unable to comprehend how it happened, that everyone around lost consciousness. The indomitable fighter with a scar, a bandaged head, and a mustache also lies unconscious, while his armored comrade convulses in pain, clutching his stomach and uncontrollably sinking to his knees afore Maolai-Lut. The Inquisitor Liut repeats his demand to confess all their sins, and after that, To patiently wait for the overseers in the dungeon, the grandmother looks at them with unwavering determination. Nanali is stunned by the unfolding events. The Lord is boiling with rage, unable to comprehend who dared to speak as if they had personally witnessed everything. Drops of sweat trickle down his forehead, and his gaze becomes increasingly stern. Mal-Lai-Lut confidently asserts that Mother Earth penetrates the essence of things with her gaze. His eyes, still activated in skill mode, sparkle with determination. Claiming he speaks for gods and ghosts, the ruler asks if he's a medium. He looks annoyed. Shocking, Mal-Lai-Lut, was he mistaken for another seer? Finally, the ruler smear. Lisa gently runs her hand over Sulfi's ears, and at that moment Mal-Lai-Lut notices. Sulfi's and est. Felania's ears are moving up and down, unable to suppress a smile. He thinks how charming they are at this moment. Reaching out his hand, he touches Sylph's ear, and the girl screams and pulls away. Lisa steps in to defend her, indignantly demanding an explanation for such behavior. Mal-Lai-Lut apologizes, admitting that he simply found the ears of Sylphin Estfalania surprisingly cute. Sylphina blushes, shyly offering a touch. Lisa snaps, while Sylphina literally burns with shame. Exploding with a scream, Lisa declared that she would not allow this, even if it didn't come close, and didn't touch her with a finger. Since then, she has been even more vigilant in protecting Sylphi. The Lord assures that he is capable of communicating with gods and the souls of the dead, and curiously asks if he has the gift of a mediator between worlds. Mal-Lai-Lut looks on with silent astonishment, as if asking what else he could have been wrong about. The Lord responds only with a sarcastic smile, mentally agreeing let it be so. Mel-Elias penetrates the thoughts of the ruler and learns that he received a mysterious potion from a small man in a black cloak. The stranger assured him, just drink the infusion, and you will become the most powerful in the world. The guards exchange surprised glances. Mal-Lai-Lut cannot figure out what his opponent is planning. But suddenly, with a flash of realization, fear distorts Lut's face. The gaze falls on the potion in the vial, swirls the miasma of an evil dragon. The liquid is made from the hot blood of a still-living monster, and along with it, the dragon's will is hidden in the brew. Pour it over yourself, and you will gain not only heroic strength, but also a dangerous curse of chaos. The special effect of this potion is the limited skill curse of chaos. Whoever uses the potion will gain access to all the abilities of the hero that the evil dragon has consumed. However, along with this, the power will fall under the dragon's control, and the body will become its instrument. Mal-Lai-Lut realizes, no power is worth letting an evil dragon possess your body for an eternity of suffering. The Lord announces that the time has come to take advantage of this. Mal-Lai-Lut notes that although the object exists, the ruler is completely unaware of the possible consequences. Mal-Lai-Lut hides the elixir, but it shatters in the ruler's hand. Did the bottle crack on its own? The potion flows in a stream towards the master, and he is engulfed by a frantic scream. His mouth cries out in pain and despair, pleading for salvation from this suffering. Terror grips Mal-Lai-Lut at the thought of what is happening inside Guta, when suddenly Sulfina Estfalania's scream pulls him from his stupor. She begs him to stop, not to do this, not to read the forbidden. He turns sharply, stunned by the unexpected voice. Sulfina Estfalania warns that chaos has already settled within him. If he reads this, the plague will completely consume him. Mal-Lai-Lut wonders, who is this mysterious woman? Lisa's stunned Sylphina was right there, but now she's vanished. Even Clara's caught off guard. At first, Maule Liut notices that Sulfina est Felania is under the control of Mother Earth. Initially, he decides that she is simply overwhelmed by someone's possession, but even more surprised, he realizes the spirit of Mother Earth herself has taken over Sulfina. No time to explain. She tells him to focus on the fight ahead. Malayut is interested in whether it is possible to see only her status without viewing the skills. She assures that yes, it can be done. New powers are opening up before him. An unusual ability allows for a striking increase in the defense of his own body and equipment. Moreover, the level of this mastery has reached its peak. If an enemy attacks physically, but their strength is inferior to this skill, there will be no damage at all. If the opponent is stronger, the damage decreases proportionally to the difference in levels. There is also another special ability in reserve, a dash, that adds insane speed while moving forward and increases destructive power upon impact. However, the Curse of Chaos imposes its price. Various torments will constantly pursue him, remaining an inseparable drawback. Filled with confidence in his own power, Ma'alai Lut considers himself invincible. The potion has granted him strength that rivals that of a hero. However, the ruler is now pierced by the poison of chaos due to a limited skill, the Curse of Chaos. The soul and body are pushed to the extreme limit of exhaustion. The trace of the hero as sorrow is inevitable. All personal characteristics have been replaced by those of the heroic defender, Galen Hardis, whose sole purpose is to ruthlessly destroy everything that moves. Sulfina est Felania compares his current state to that of a hero swallowed by a black dragon. The mind remains clear, but the body is no longer under its own control. Ma-al-Aluth reflects. If he reads this, a curse will fall upon him along with the skills. He hesitates, choosing between the temptation of new power and the danger it brings. When his gaze meets Sulfina S., there is a glimmer of disdain in her eyes. She sharply commands him to stop reading. Malai Liut considers herself too weak. But this state of affairs suits Sylphie better, who, although not a goddess, still has magical abilities significantly more powerful than Liut's. Fina est Velania's mind is a storm of dark thoughts. She's seized control, but she's nothing like the others. She's their polar opposite. Mali Lot believes that if the goddess has captured his consciousness, then he has the ability to comprehend her characteristics. Fina turned to Felania, saying that she ordered him to stop reading, but now he doesn't have the spirit for it. All that will come of this is just a nosebleed. It's better to deal with the problem that is right under his nose. Undoubtedly, Maulai Lut understands that he is facing a true goddess with all her ambitions. Yet she only keeps insisting, "Don to do that. Leave it," without giving any sensible advice. After all, the body belongs to Sylph. She has none of her own, so she could behave a little more modestly. He had imagined a deity quite differently. Imagining how her soft and supple contours give him warmth, he didn't even notice how he laughed. This fantasy seemed so alive. Sophina snaps at his dirty thoughts. She can't read his mind anymore, but his face is an open book. The Lord repeatedly transforms into a terrifying creature, crying out in agony about unbearable pain and pleading for salvation. Malai Lut grimly realizes the time has come to confront this monster. The Lord, stirred by terrible pain, lets out a scream around him. At that moment, Malai Lut feverishly contemplates her next actions. The frightened guards, engulfed in panic, flee in all directions. Meanwhile, Malai Lut realizes the ruler is programmed to destroy any moving object. Malai Lut orders everyone to freeze, move an inch, and he strikes. The Lord glares with fury. The guard begs him to stay back, but the monster stalks forward as he retreats in terror. Having commanded him to rise, Malai Lut draws his sword and strikes at the shoulder. However, his astonishment knows no bounds. The enemy turns out to be remarkably strong, as he possesses the skill of enhancement. Regular weapon attacks belong to S rank, so they almost always have S level. The fortification ability of Gaud is rated 1 tier lower. It is A rank, falling short of the attacks. Thus, the damage is reduced by 1/5. Such a calculation immediately played into his hands. Thanks to his cleverness, he easily outplays the monster, and no obstacle is frightening for him. As soon as he manages to inflict a wound, it instantly heals, and the enemy immediately counterattacks. Taking a step back, he realizes in close combat, the chances are slim. The armored knight shouts to his brother, "Run!" although he still does not understand what has happened. Mal. Lelouch realizes the situation is critical. Gathering all his determination, he decides to use the most powerful spell of the hero. Drago Lightning Magic. He shields Melilut with a lightning barrier, repelling the attack and leaving her stunned. The monster was almost unharmed. The hero's shield protects against the blow. Yet despite this, he cries out that he feels pain. The monster swiftly lunges at the armored knights and strikes the unconscious man with a powerful blow, crushing him along with the iron-clad body, so that both literally smash into the wall. Lut's floored by the power, but the foaming beast has clearly lost its mind. The monster lunges, Mao dodges, and the beast slams the wall, leaving a massive hole. Mal. Leluta bolts up, but hesitates. Checking the rear, Sofina holds the line, shouting they're safe. She admits that her divine power has limits, yet she promises them protection. Still, even her strength cannot shield them from this devastating blow of the enemy. Malilut smiles, recalling Sylphie. If the monster's attack catches him off guard, gathering the bones will no longer be possible. The special property of the hero's sword grants invincibility, but it can only be used once a day, so one must guess the decisive moment. The monster fiercely lunges at Malaya, but he deftly jumps back. Suddenly, the guy notices that his hands are moving faster and faster, and punches are raining down from unpredictable, hidden angles. The monster has completely lost the remnants of reason, but every movement of its body has gained a cold elegance. The watchful gaze of Sylphina Estfalania relentlessly follows them. Malailud strikes again and again, but each time he finds that his opponent suffers almost no damage, instantly healing wounds, and with each passing minute, it becomes increasingly difficult to reach him. Heavy breathing escapes from the chest, and anxiety reigns in the head. The situation is hopeless. There is nothing left to do but defend, as strength is barely enough. If this continues, breathing will finally falter, and then the enemy will destroy not only him, but everyone around. Overcome by sudden determination, he shouts to Liza to throw him the ferryman. Potion. Her face fills with astonishment. Malelut realizes that he has no other way out. El launches an attack, but each time he realizes that no matter how many blows he delivers, the opponent remains almost unscathed and instantly recovers. And with each passing minute, dealing him even a little damage becomes increasingly difficult. The chest rises heavily in a ragged breath. Troubling thoughts swarm in the head. Things are bad. There is only the defense to hold. But at this pace, strength will quickly fade. One will exhaust oneself and become easy prey, putting everyone else in danger. At that moment, he screams for Lisa to throw him the transformation potion for the ferryman, and the girl is filled with wonder. Malay Lut understands he has no other way out left. Let's go back a little. After the fierce battle in the city, in which the hero fell, Mao Leolyuta asked Lisa what she wanted to talk about. In response, the girl admitted that she had many questions for him. Her question sounded sharp. Why was he next to Lady Sylphie? Wasn't it enough that he had already involved Musashi in this story? Now the same had befallen the Red Knight. Feeling tired, Mao Layut asked for a little rest, but suddenly fell to one knee. Then Lisa handed him a bottle of potion. Curious, he inquired what it was. The girl replied that it was an elven potion, capable of instantly restoring all strength, both physical and magical. After reading this, the boy did not hide his surprise. The cost of the elixir turned out to be exorbitant. Such luxury he could not afford. Her response was a confident assertion, of course. The price is high after all. This is the best restorative drink after the Goddess S elixir. She said that this remedy is capable of healing even fatal wounds, while simultaneously eliminating all harmful effects. With his eyes wide open, Malay examined the trophy and enthusiastically noted that the potion was truly incredible. Lisa insisted it was time to taste it, otherwise his exhaustion after the battle might take its toll. In response to Malay S' objections, she confidently assured him that after such a clash, it was perfectly natural, especially since he had given all his strength to protect Lady Selfie. With tears in her eyes, she expressed her deep gratitude to him, and, as a token of thanks, offered him to accept elven potion from her. Mel Lailu admitted that he defended Sylvie simply because he wanted to. He thanked her, and then leisurely raised his glass and took a sip. Suddenly feeling a surge of strength, he realized he had only taken a sip, and the fatigue seemed to have blown away like the wind. Gratefully thanking her once more, he heard in response that it was enough to ask, and she would share this amazing drink any time. After asking the question, she finally heard the long-awaited explanations. But suddenly, voices rang out in the air. Someone claimed that they were not there and promised to check another place. Ma Laolu quickly stated that the details would be clarified later, and for now, the most important thing for them was to leave this city as soon as possible. Returning to the battle with the monster, Lisa anxiously asks if he is injured or if everything is all right. Malai Lut reassures her, insisting that he is fine, and urges them to leave immediately. She throws him a potion, which he deftly catches, and thanks her for the help. Meanwhile, inside the monster, the shield-bearer Galen Gardus is preparing to finish the reading completely. Barely has he managed to swallow the meaning of what is written, when something breaks within him, his body rapidly changes, and a frantic scream escapes his lips, Sulfina est. Felania cries out in despair, for this is exactly what she feared when asking not to read it. The curse of chaos inexorably engulfed Malalut in an instant. It became a thick, sticky mire, painful spikes, and searing lava all at once. The air disappears as if chaos unfolds in the chest, turning the insides upside down. Every second is an endless series of torments. The body tears apart with pain so much that the mind flees into the abyss of madness. He loudly exclaims that now is not the time for complaints, decisively opens the bottle of elixir, and drains it to the bottom. Pain pierces his body sharper than fire, but this time the torment seems less unbearable. He has enough strength to endure these sensations for at least 10 seconds. With wild courage, he charges at the monster, shouting that this time there will be enough opportunities. Her lightning-fast sword strike meets the monster S resistance, but on the hero S side is a unique power invincibility, granted by the sword S special ability. The monster roars in some incomprehensible language, and Mal Iluit notes that now he is not the only one feeling the pressure. It seems that the creature itself is also suffering from pain. The creature uses its ability to regenerate. Malai Lut notices how the monster instantly begins to heal and exclaims that this is exactly what he was counting on. A shining flash of lightning cuts through the space again. Everything around explodes with blinding light. Malilut breathes heavily and intermittently as the strike fades. A huge hole is growing in the floor. The girl, filled with hope, looks at the boy Solfina est Villania, declares that it is his business. With tear-filled eyes, Clara immediately rushes to him. Malai Lut is taken aback, but still forces a smile and says that the victory is his. Malai Lat, having fallen on his back, asks himself through the pain, if this is already the end. He feverishly rummages in his pocket and, catching his heavy breath, pulls out a vial with the elixir. Having drained the elven potion, the hero acknowledges the strength has returned to the body. However, inside the disease still rages, leaving unpleasant sensations. He became curious whether the curse of chaos was to blame for everything. He had not expected to feel such terrible discomfort. May it never happen again. Solfina est Villania claims that he is incorrigible and is going mad again. Leaning towards her interlocutor, she remarks with an ironic smile, "Just imagine you voluntarily accepted the curse of the sinister dragon." Malai notices something new with surprise and admits that he hadn't paid attention to it before. But has her body really changed? Although it seems that the changes have only affected one part. She explains this by saying that she is Mother Earth herself, who has descended from the heavens. To ensure that her physical form at least partially corresponds to her true essence, she made a few minor changes. Malai Lut assures that he understands everything and suspects that she is worried about her appearance. Solfina est Villania responds by calling him a noble person. She sits down next to him and, smiling, calls him a clever boy, suggesting to gently stroke his head. Her hand touches his hair, but feeling awkward, the boy asks her to stop. She admits it. No wonder he is called the hero of their era. It seems he has defeated Strago. It explains everything using its abilities, but deep down there remained some strange feeling. It's hard to say whether it was a premonition or a sudden burst of inspiration, but a clear feeling emerged. It was worth trusting this impulse, and everything would turn out for the best. Solfina est. Villania inquires whether these are eyes capable of seeing the truth. Malai Lut appears nearby and wonders what they represent. She explains divine eyes are a power unique to the gods themselves, while heavenly eyes are a gift that God bestows upon people. The eyes of truth are a unique skill that a person achieves on their own. It is precisely through this ability that the path to the best solution, supported by all accumulated experience, is opened. Solfina est Villania gazes thoughtfully. Is this not the star of truth? Meanwhile, Malai Lut rises and curiously asks what this is. She explains that divine sight is a gift available only to the gods, while celestial sight is an ability bestowed upon humans by the Almighty. The eyes of truth are not just a gift, but a skill that a person has honed independently, turning it into their unique ability. It is precisely thanks to this capability that, even in the most complicated situations, one can instantly find the best solution, relying on the wealth of their own experience. He inquired whether this ability also belonged to our Strago, and received an affirmative answer. Malai Lut smiles and acknowledges how everything is clear. It's not about his ability to be cool. The real talent belongs to our Strago. Solfina sternly addresses Villania, taps him on the head, and wonders why he looks so upset. Reminding him to listen to the end, Malai Lut simply rubs his head and notes that, surprisingly, it doesn't hurt at all. Solfina est. Villania claims that our Strago was actually the owner of true eyes, but he used this ability even before he learned about it. Malai Lut claims that she remembers nothing. She is convinced that he simply wasn't aware of it, and only when he read Arsa Drago, the bearer of the same powers, did he understand. All his actions were governed by intuition. Solfina est Villania reminds him every time life posed a challenge, he always found the best way out. For example, It is simply impossible to immediately master a newly acquired skill after defeating Hegelus. Armed with new intel, he planned to crush Hegelois, but he wouldn't strike back until his strength was fully restored. He masters every skill, pushing them to the limit. Against Musashi, his instant, perfect moves prove he's on a level most can't reach. She encourages him to take pride in himself, as he is a true hero of his time. Malai Luth never sought to stand out among others, yet deep down he always nurtured hope for something greater. The desire for a calm and peaceful life still flickers in his heart, yet the harshness of reality has exceeded all expectations. However, he wants to say that he dislikes it. Thinking deeply, he asks himself why that is. The realization that for someone you are a reason for pride seems quite nice. An awkward smile appears on his face. Sylphina est. Felania notes that sometimes he behaves like a complete fool, especially when there is no one around to read to. It seems that he really allowed Lyra to get close to Mariana, even to kiss her. Moreover, he recklessly unleashed a magical sphere. Sylphina est. Felonius notes that he indeed has no experience, so there is nothing to be done. But he asks to be more cautious in the future. In his thoughts, Malay Lut reflects. This woman has an extraordinarily high opinion of herself. But what else to expect from a goddess? Sophina est Villania states that they will stop here and move on to the main question. She reports that the evil dragon has already begun its actions. These words astonish everyone present. Sylphina cuts to the main point. The evil dragon is already moving, leaving everyone frozen in shock. Liza is curious whether the treacherous dragon has really started to act, despite being sealed. She is told that he hasn't moved himself yet, but has been influencing events through intermediaries. The person who slipped the elixir with the miasmas of the evil dragon to Hudaborvili has not yet been identified. Mel Lilut expresses interest in who that person could have been. According to him, it looked like a man in a black cloak, although it is possible that a woman could have been hiding under the cloak. If even the goddess could not recognize who it was, it is no wonder that Mel Lilut could not understand it either. Perhaps it was about some divine being, according to Mal Lialufa. The creature crawled out of the wall and then vanished without a trace into the floor. He learned this from Huta Sulfina est Villania. Notes that if he really managed to cross the boundary, it is hard to imagine who he could be among all her acquaintances. She advises to leave this question for now. She notes that the most important thing right now is that the ominous dragon is hunting specifically for Mau Mau Lai. Observes Sylphan est Felania, and sees in her the same former Sylphi who disliked Pepper. A smile appears on his face, as it is the same expression she had before. Mother Earth notes with a smile that this situation probably pleases him greatly. He readily admits, of course it is so. He confesses that he sees his opponent as prey, although in reality, he himself has ended up in the crosshairs. Mother Earth nods enthusiastically. She likes his bravery. Little Lilud asks her what to do. Now perhaps he should set out to search for the evil dragon himself. To this, she notes that desperate bravery and foolish recklessness are not the same thing at all. She sadly acknowledges he still lacks strength. Until he grows, their possibilities remain too limited. A barely noticeable smile appears on her face, and she promises that since she is already nearby, she will personally conduct a few important lessons for him. Mel Li Lut, trembling with fear, begs not to look so angrily in Sylphie's body. She fearfully apologizes, fearing his next reaction. A glance at Sylphie's troubled face instantly suggests to Maul that he has accidentally overheard too much. Doubt arises within. Could this arrogant goddess really be so easily made to ask for forgiveness? Malai Liut admits that for him, Sulfina est Villania embodies healing. However, Sulfina herself insists that the true symbol of rebirth should be Mother Earth. She offers the secret to true strength. Reread until you drop. He's skeptical, wondering if studying strong opponents is the real key. He notes that he has heard this before. She irritably asks, "From whom exactly?" He replies that these are the words of Arsa Drago. He told him the same thing when he read the hero S. sword. Her cheeks are flushed. She clears her throat and notes no matter what, the black dragon could very well be plotting something evil again. So one should be as cautious as possible. Silence. Malai asks if that's everything. Trembling, she whispers, yes. He thanks her, but calls the info too vague, making her snap back that it's crystal clear. She bursts out screaming, reproaching him that he shouldn't have told her about it at all. After all, he heard it from Arstrago. He could have pretended he was hearing it for the first time, and just thanked her. Maule Luf learns the goddess's tricks of deceit as a grieving Mother Earth finally departs. She urges him to lift the curse from Sylph as soon as possible, for without memories, the girl will not be able to harness the power of the Priestess of Light. When asked if he understood how to lift the curse by simply closing his eyes, the boy awkwardly blushes and admits that he understood about everything. Mother Earth notes that she wants to add something she has autonomously connected with the body of Sylph, although she was not summoned. This act has caused her some harm, which is why everyone is worried about what the consequences might be. Her eyes sparkle gold, and her figure turns elegant. She stares with naive curiosity, acting like nothing's changed. Malai, Lute, and Lisa scream in disbelief over their Sylph. Lisa warns of the consequences, while Malai Lute demands a sincere apology. She apologizes. Sulfina snaps back and collapses, but Mal catches her. She recognizes him instantly. Malai Lute asks if she's hurt, but she smiles weakly, claiming she's just a bit dizzy. They offer her to drink the carrier's potion. She notes that it is a very valuable thing. However, they assure her that everything is under control. She leaps up, shouting in delight. This is incredible. Pure joy floods her entire being, Clara reports. Sylfina Estvalania is back, power still peak, but she looks visibly shaken. Grandma sighs and says that it seems she is still destined to live in this world, while Nali, trembling, admits that she was truly scared. Gremoter asks Maulai Lu. Her plan, she can lift the oblivion curse at any moment. She wonders if he knows where this ends. Nanali asks her grandma if something's wrong. The room goes silent, waiting for her answer. The oblivion curse leaves permanent scars even if broken. Haunted by the truth, he finally warns Sylfina Estvalania to listen closely. Despite the fact that his behavior may seem selfish and even wrong, there is still an overwhelming desire inside to be honest with her. He warns as soon as the curse of oblivion is lifted, all memories that arose during its effect will vanish without a trace. Sylfina's gaze radiates bitter sorrow, her eyes frozen as if her entire world just shattered. She wonders if her memories of Mawai Luta and their year together will just vanish. Memories of conversations with Clara and Liza, about grandmother and Anali. All of this has vanished without a trace from her consciousness. Those around her watch her with a heavy heart, filled with sorrow and compassion. Malilut confirms her fate, but Sulfina refuses, lunging at him and screaming she won't forget a thing. She screams in confusion, but he offers a choice. Keep the curse memories, or lose the past that buried her true self. Fina Estvalania breaks down, sobbing that she can't choose, and refuses to lift the curse. She'd rather stay stuck than forget him. Shaking with fear, she finally speaks her name. He shoves Sulfina away, demanding her memories back, but she refuses with a violent headshake. Melee Lute clings to her, past her mother and village, vowing to become a priestess of light once again. He reminds her she wanted this before the amnesia. Now, She just stares back through tears. No force, no whims. She chose to become a priestess of light with total resolve. Resigned to her fate since childhood, she'll sacrifice her life to find the hero's next heir. Her unconscious desire haunts him. He pulls the sobbing Sylphie close, ready to speak. Zeta's grandma interrupts, warning them to back off. She's deciding her own fate. Grandma says lift the curse now, but head home and think it over first. Guards bow and load the wounded into the silent cart as Sulfina buries her face, desperately chanting that she won't forget. She trembles in despair, while Maulai Lut watches sadly. Starving, the grandmother apologizes for the lack of food. Maulai Lut begs his silent family for forgiveness, but they stop him. He's no villain. He's their savior. Liza tells Sulfina she's eating carrots now, but immediately admits she still hates the taste. Lisa smiles, remembering Mel Iluid's health assurance, and praises her. You're doing a great job. A dejected Maulai Lu decides to sleep in the cart alone, but Nanali insists there's room for all 6. Sharing a bed with girls is too awkward for him. He offers the floor, but decides the stroller is better. Sulfina refuses to leave Mal's side, and the two cozy up together in the carriage. She asks if he remembers the past. He's locked on her, instantly reminded of their first meeting. 3 days since the church rescued Sulfina, a girl with 0 memories. She's already adapting, reading, and writing perfectly, with 3 squirrels by her side as she navigates this new world. Watching squirrels, she realizes she's a total blank. No name, no age, and 0 memories. Silence falls as she buries her face in her knees. Talking to the Holy Father and his followers was a struggle, and she couldn't explain the crushing anxiety in her chest. The proteins lock eyes, then vanish into the trees. She blinks, and a mysterious hand offers her a flower. Mal Leolyut appears, smirking as he beckons her over, and offers a mysterious flower. Trembling with fear, tears are about to well up in his eyes. He asks, "Sophie, why are you looking at me like that?" He fakes an apology, lying that he didn't mean to scare her, just to keep her off guard. Sulfina backs against the door, eyes locked on him. The boy confidently claims that the whole village laughed when he made a face. Apparently, children always perceive such things in their own way. Terrified, Sulfina begs for mercy and asks who he is. The stranger calmly answers Mel. Extending a flower and smiling, the young man admits that he lives in solitude on the very edge of the settlement and is genuinely happy to meet her. She already had an important question on her tongue when he suddenly asked if he could call her simply Sylphie. In response, he allowed her to call him only Mel. Sofina Estfalania asks if he has any business with her. In response, he hears that there are no particular questions. It was just a desire to exchange a few words with someone during short breaks at work. The girl sadly admits that no one talks to her. She remains completely alone, having no one to have a heartfelt conversation with. Her gaze drifts to the floral garland. Lute notices her sorrow and immediately understands how much it hurts her. Smiling, he offers to continue the conversation, asking if she has already had a chance to get to know the city well. At that time, she considered him a carefree and cheerful guy, so he started coming every day at noon, telling her various stories. No matter how cold her reception was, he still tirelessly tried to lift her spirits. But suddenly his visits stopped. While playing with the squirrels, the girl wondered, will he never appear again? The squirrel suddenly jumps up and rushes off. Who knows where? Rising, she notices how Malai is confusedly searching around for Sylphanocephalania and wonders where her friend has gone. Suddenly, she throws herself into his arms. He raises his hand, and out of the corner of his eye, observes how her body presses against him. Even for her, this act turns out to be a surprise. Avoiding eye contact and turning away, The girl stubbornly insists that she is not at all pleased to meet him, and the hugs were unwanted for her, so he shouldn't even think otherwise. Mel Leluta wonders if she is actually angry. She admits that she no longer hoped to see him again, choosing his words carefully, assures her that he actually wanted to come as soon as possible. The man explains that he couldn't come because his colleagues found out that he was secretly leaving his workplace and gave him a serious reprimand. However, he still completed his daily quota, tried not to create any problems for others, and usually worked tirelessly. His palm gently holds her hand after 2 weeks of intense work. Today is finally the long-awaited day off. He invites her to be close, not to be shy, and to stay herself. She is curious about where exactly he is smiling, and he replies, "A wonderful place." Complying, she notes to herself, his palm is rough, yet full of warmth. Upon arriving at the location, Sulfina Estvalania admires the variety of flowers around her with delight. Her companion asks if this beauty impresses her. She enthusiastically notes how charming it is around, while he, in the meantime, gathers flowers and assures her that he can be talked to openly, as if he were an old friend. He asks her to wait a little, while he weaves a wreath from flowers and gently gives it to the girl. He tells her that her mother recently made the same wreath, and also informs her Sulfina Estvalania is already approaching. He carefully places a wreath on her head, jokingly declaring that now she is a real princess. The girl looks at him in surprise and timidly touches the new adornment. The girl wonders if he really took a day off for the first time in 2 weeks just to spend this day with her. Gradually, it dawns on her that he has always treated her with special care. Despite the circumstances, the boy remained calm and unflappable, always finding words of support to encourage her. In response, the girl blossomed with a sincere smile and thanked him from the bottom of her heart. It seemed that nothing special had happened, yet in the monotonous whirl of her everyday life, a modest but sincere spark of joy appeared. All these moments were extremely precious to her. That night, she fervently dreamed that the happy days would last as long as possible. Reflecting on the events in the carriage, where they sat quietly side by side, Mulaliyut smiled as he recalled those distant times and sincerely wished to restore her good mood. She grabs him by his clothes, and when he turns to call her, the girl presses closer and hugs him tightly. She admits that until this moment she would have preferred to never know the truth. After all, if she hadn't known that he was destined to disappear from her memory, she wouldn't have had to endure such pain. Malai Lut asks her for forgiveness. Sulfina Estvalania asks him not to apologize. She admits that if she had remained in ignorance, if the curse had disappeared, somewhere deep in her soul, there would still be a bitter sadness. Ma-Ala Lut assures her everything she is interested in, he is ready to reveal. Even those events that have faded from memory can be grasped by his identification skills. He will read them and tell her everything she wants to know. Gently running his hand through her hair, he promised to tell her everything without exception. Even what she was destined to forget, his face was illuminated by a smile. With excitement in her voice, she asks him, "Tell me everything." In response, he smiles and assures her that regardless of her wishes, even if she hates him, he will still reveal the whole truth to her. The girl laughs, confirming that he really is like that. The young man smiles in response and promises to tell her everything, even if she ends up hating him. Tears stream down her cheeks uncontrollably as she finally gathers her courage, closes her eyes, and sincerely confesses her feelings to him. She loves him. Mel Lelut looks at her in surprise, while she lowers her head and quietly assures him that she will not forget. She will never forget. In just a moment, her scream echoes throughout the room. She desperately repeats that this is etched in her memory forever. Tears streaming, she confesses, Even if she forgets him, their bond lives in her heart forever. Memories erased, her love remains. Holding him tight, she lets the tears flood. Mal realizes with surprise that Liut is indeed strong, completely different from him. Embracing her, he sincerely confesses his deep feelings. I love you very much, too. Gathering the courage to reveal his feelings to her turned out to be a real test for him. The streets were growing gray. The hustle and bustle of morning preparations surrounded him. Sofina Estvelania expresses a desire for Mal to take care of this. Nanali thoughtfully asks if he will lift the curse. The grandmother confidently notes that Mal will never meet her gaze again, although he could free her from the enchantments. What a noble soul he has. He reads Zeta, tells Salfina to close her eyes, and touches her forehead to chant a mysterious spell. A sign appears on her forehead, glowing with a special light. Malila notices the curse is lifted. Her friends ask how she feels, and if she remembers her own name. Safina asks Malalut. Who he is, he flashes a tragic smile and sighs. So it's finally come to this. The pain turned out to be stronger than he expected. Introducing himself, the young man catches the girl's gaze, who is intently looking at Liza and seems to finally recognize her. Currently, Solfina Estfelania does not remember the events of the last year, so she only recognizes Lisa. Everyone else is a stranger to her. Malai Lut asks Lisa to tell Solfina the whole truth. But he is leaving soon, having promised to wait in the next room. Suddenly, Solfina Estfelania appears from behind, throws herself around his neck, and hugs him tightly, causing him to let out an unexpected cry of surprise. The stunned gazes of all those present are directed at them. Among the crowd, one grandmother stands out, proudly observing the events. Meanwhile, Solfina Estvelania addresses the stranger with a direct question. Who is he? He tries to assure her that they will reveal the whole truth to her. But Solfina Estfelania insists she does not know this man, and moreover, she does not recall ever having seen or spoken to him as he claims. Malailu mentally reread the last sentence and could not understand what was happening in her heart. Why anxiety arises when he turns away, why she hugs him so tightly as if trying to keep him close, why tears roll from her eyes without permission, and why he has become so precious to her. In his memory, her words about never forgetting her love for him come to mind, and he suddenly realizes this is the honest truth. Embracing her, he enthusiastically thinks to himself, Solfina Estvelania is truly unparalleled. Out loud, he admits that she is very dear to him. Suddenly opening her eyes, she admits that she doesn't understand why. But if he insists, she trusts him. Mel Lai Lut reflects at Sylphie, who supposedly doesn't know him. Sylphie, whose memories differ from his own. But to him, she remains the same. Sylphie. At the luxuriously set table, where dishes and drinks tempted with variety, Malay Lut announces tomorrow they will set off on their journey. The soldiers were tasked with calling the assessors, so the truth will soon come to light. Zeta ended up in prison due to slander, while the real villain was Gouda. At that very moment, no one would even guess that it was the grandmother who cast the curse on the city, and it could only be lifted by Nanali. Ilut laughs shyly. Actually, Grandma adds more, making Malai Lut laugh. Shyly is much more. YouTube narrator, let's try. Turning to Zeta's grandmother, he assures her that prison is definitely not a threat to her. Hearing this, Naana exhales with relief. The grandmother modestly notes that she was already prepared for such a turn of events, so even if she is exposed, she will not feel deep regret. Angry Nanali shouts something to her grandmother, while the others just smile and exchange mysterious glances. Zeta gratefully notes how much Malay Lute has done for both of them, and assures that she will make every effort to ensure his efforts are not in vain. Malay Lute smiled, explaining that he acted that way only because he wanted to. While Nonali had already started to thank him, Sylphie turned to Philly with praise, and Malay Lute immediately took notice of her. With a light, warm smile, she thanks him, acknowledging that it is thanks to him that they managed to escape. Malay Lute simply laughs in response, modestly assuring her that it is nothing. Nanali stares at Malay Liu, face flushed and dazed. Sylphie stands between them, nervously tracking their every reaction. She is engulfed by an unknown irritation that brings unwanted warmth to her cheeks and makes her pout discontentedly. As they say goodbye, they thank Zeta and Nanali for everything they have done for them. However, in response, they hear that it is she who should be thanked. In a touching moment, Zeta confidently states that everything will be fine, yet still insists on being cautious on the road. Mao takes the lute with a light smile and thanks for it. In return, Sylphie, Est, and Fionus greet him with sincere smiles. Meanwhile, Nanali, clenching her hands, approaches shyly and awkwardly. She looks away, hiding her eyes, which shine with tears. Shame fills her cheeks, and an uncertain question escapes her lips. He will still come back here. Right. He claims that he will definitely come as soon as he finishes all his business. At that moment, Nanali gently takes his hand, with which he firmly holds the reins of the cart. Embracing his hand, she sincerely assures him that she will always wait. Malay Lute, awkwardly looking away, blushed, and awkwardly said that it happened by chance. With confidence in his voice, Malay Lute declares that he will definitely come, while Sylvie Estfilianos continues to look at him with resentment, intending to add a few more words. Nanali suddenly stops Sylph Estfilianos with a jealous expression, pulls the rope, and orders him to leave immediately. Everyone is dispersing, while Sylphie Estfilianos, embracing Malay Lute, proudly watches Nanali. The carriage departs, leaving Nanali and Zeta alone in the middle of the road. Nana still watches him shyly, while Grandma, observing all this, only smiles knowingly. Everything is clear, after all. Before them is a true hero, the very rescuer, so there is nothing to be surprised about. She sighs, unsure if the day will ever come when Nanali gets married, and she can see her grandchildren. Nana asks her grandmother what happened to her, and she just waves it off with a smile. Nothing special. Just a thought crossed her mind how nice it would be to live in the world for a long, long time. The cart rolls on, while Sylphie Estfilionis, tightly embracing Malay Lute, awkwardly tries to steer, not having moved an inch. Turning to her, he asks if she is filled with anger. In response, the girl proudly and calmly declares that she feels no anger at all. Mel realizes he only needs to use his assessment skill, and the fog of uncertainty will dissipate. But fear takes over, and he retreats from this thought. Traveling for several days, he shared with Sylphie Estfalonis memories of events from the past year. Interestingly, there was not a shadow of discontent on Sylphie's face. On the contrary, she listened with a light joy and at the same time with a hint of sadness. Thanks to his unique ability to identify, he recalled moments he had already forgotten. He had never felt so pleased to possess such a valuable skill. The car continues its movement vs Philly. Honest is almost dozing off. Clara is eagerly enjoying her meal, and Lisa is leisurely wiping the gun with a cloth. Malay Lute notices something unusual and immediately calls. Sylphie Estfilionis. Sylphie barely wakes up, swollen and exhausted after a difficult night. Rubbing her eyes, she tries to fully wake up. Malay Lute apologizes to her, asking if he disturbed her sleep. She replies that she indeed woke up because of him, and asks where the needed item is. The young man calls her and mysteriously informs her that he wants to show her something. She immediately agrees, and, without hesitation, sets off after him. Through the dense forest, 4 travelers walk together. Malay Lu gently holds Sylphiest Filianus by the hand and warns her to be careful, as there are many large stones ahead. During the walk, holding Phil by the hand, Sophie openly asked him about what interested her, while noting to herself his palm is so strong, yet it radiates gentle warmth. On the way, she is haunted by the thought that she seems to know almost nothing about Manhwa Liut. Yet at the same time, a strange feeling lives in her heart as if she has known him for a very long time. Stepping into a brightly colored flower field, Mel Lelut ceremoniously announces that they have finally arrived. The girls stand still in awe and wonder, enchanted by the beauty of the surrounding diversity. Amazed, Clara exclaims, "What incredible beauty this is." Lisa looks around and notes that even the mention of the evil dragon loses all its power in the face of such a view. Clara is surprised to notice something unusual and asks Malay Lut what he is doing. Meanwhile, the boy squats down and carefully picks wildflowers. He only smiles mysteriously at her curiosity. Everything will become clear very soon. He weaves the wreath again, carefully placing it on the head of Sophia Philly. Honest, and announces that everything is ready. A sudden surprise appears on Sophia's face. She turns to him in confusion. Malay Liut expresses his opinion again in his view. She is a true princess. Not just looks like one, but truly has a royal appearance. Sylphie. Estphilian's cheeks are flushed, and her gaze is fixed on him, Malay Luta. The cheerful laughter breaks the moment he jokes that the second time is going well. Clara excitedly adds that it's incredible, and Sylphie Estphilian finally understands everything. Pressing her hands to her chest, she admits that she has fallen in love with this man. For the second time. It is about Mel. Suddenly it occurs to her it is not necessary to remember the past, to feel an old passion for Malay Lut. Her heart belongs to him again, and this realization envelops her in a bittersweet joy. With her eyes closed, she calmly makes a decision. It is time to create their shared memories. Her fingers gently glide over the wreath. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary, unremarkable wreath. Liza tries to create the decoration herself, but admits that the work turned out to be more difficult than it seemed. Estphilianus laughs at this scene, while Clara can to help but exclaim how lovely Liza is. At this time in the kingdom of Mari, she is preparing for a journey with Vardamian. She mounts the saddle and casts a determined glance at Joseph. He salutes her and asks her to be cautious on the road. Suddenly, Marianne Wardamian addresses him as father and begs him to stop, as she is no longer a commander and not even a knight. The girl admits that she has taken on the search for the hero, but emphasizes that this task is shrouded in strict secrecy. Smiling, she admits that she is now a criminal, banished from the capital, and apologizes to him for his daughter losing hope. Smiling, he makes a joke that for a criminal, she looks too cheerful. She closes her eyes, laughs in response, and confesses that her deepest desire has just come true. Once, when she was summoned to the capital and expelled from the ranks of knights, she herself made a request to be assigned the task of finding the hero. She explained in detail how important it was to also find his sword. Despite having already been forgiven for all her faults, she fervently sought to atone for them through this mission, and it required no small amount of courage. The ghost, with a touched smile, closes her eyes and quietly sighs. Her fiery nature, he confesses to her that he has not done anything important for her. Obeying orders, he arrested her, and when she became a knight, he left only the role of a supervisor for himself. She extends her hand to him and asks what it is. If it weren't for his presence, she would have broken down much earlier and would probably still be behind bars. Her gratitude towards him knows no bounds. Squeezing her hand, he asks if she can manage on her own. In response, she admits that she want to speak of carefreeness. She admits it's time to challenge fate. She needs to master the wild state of a berserker, which she has been fleeing from until now. The father immediately understands everything. Now it is clear to him. What the matter is, with a slight smile, he wishes his daughter good luck and asks her to take care of herself. A touching farewell, Marianne Verdamian announces her departure. Holding back her emotions, she mounts her horse and, without looking back, rides forward, leaving her father behind. Thus, Mel Lai Lut, Sylphiast Fionus, and Lisa safely reached the homeland of Sylphiast Fionus. The country of Fionus. In the northwest of Filianesa lies a water area, a place known for its crystal-clear springs here. A roaring waterfall flows into transparent waters, and the entire territory is enveloped in lush greenery. With the spoils in hand, the hero surrenders to pleasure. Bliss envelops him as if he has found himself in seventh heaven. Now he enjoys bathing in a hot spring. Their journey led them straight to this body of water. Upon learning of the guests' arrival, the queen mother of Sylphi Est Philonis hurried to meet them and organized a ceremonial reception in their honor, solidifying peace. The mother greeted them with a smile, calling her son a hero, and did not hide her joy at the meeting. At that moment, his thoughts drifted to Eleanor E.T. Mrs. Filianus, her enchanting beauty lingered in his mind for a long time. The gaze glides upward. There shines the moon, and thoughts drift to Trice and hot springs that wash away fatigue after long journeys. Finally delivering Sylphi Esphili to her native stereo earth, he can finally exhale with relief, relaxing in a hot bath. The warmth envelops him, and his tired eyelids gradually close in satisfaction. Suddenly, a warning reaches his ears. Falling asleep here is dangerous. He squints his swollen eyes, peering into the darkness, searching for the one who spoke those words. The widely opened eyes, frozen in surprise, were fixed on the silhouette of Queen Filionis. Herself Eleonora Est Filionis. Suddenly stepping back, he repeatedly asks what is happening. He cannot believe that she is really standing in front of him. She asked if he liked their thermal springs, while Mel Llewellyn repeatedly convinced himself not to glance at her. Lowering his head and closing his eyes, he silently freezes. The queen laughs and warns if he goes any further, they will no longer be able to talk. Before his eyes, the queen appears, and a sudden thought pierces his consciousness in this place. It seems that all dreams and most cherished hopes come true. The queen notices that a young man stands before her, and, with a mysterious smile, asks if he wants her to allow him to touch them. With remarkable enthusiasm, he immediately inquires whether it is really possible, but soon he regains his composure and distances himself from her again, which elicits genuine laughter from the queen. Finally, he dares to ask the question. Why does she need all this? Queen Eleanor admits that she simply wanted to be alone with the hero and talk openly. Thinking for a moment, the queen jokingly admits, perhaps it would have been worth sneaking into his bed under the cover of night. Her figure immediately appears in his imagination, quietly apologizing for the unexpected visit. Closing his eyes, he again exclaims that none of the options suit him. In response, she only beams a smile, enjoying this amusing confrontation. Completely turning away from her, he throws a brief question. What did she want to talk about? To this, the girl just laughed and assured him that she was absolutely calm at the moment. Confusion does not give him peace. He clumsily asks if she is really keeping calm. His cheeks betray him, flushing with color. Queen Eleonora calmly replied that this was exactly what she had said. In their royal family, strangely enough, over the years, everyone becomes more and more similar to each other, both in facial features and stature. Mal Le Liut is completely lost in the meaning of her words. The girl steps even closer, as if she is deliberately enjoying this game. An incomprehensible feeling presses on his back, and he cannot understand what it is. Queen Eleonora notes that the girl is still too young to bear children. She understands perfectly that even heroes have certain physiological needs, but she asks him to keep himself in check. The queen's words astonish him, leaving him bewildered. The man admits that he cannot understand her hints. In response, she explains that she reached out with a request, but it seems he is only interested in more significant issues. Her smile blooms even brighter, and, repeating her words, she emphasizes now she feels at peace in her soul. Little Lai Lut wonders whether he should warn him to stay away from her precious daughter. However, the boy confidently declares aloud that he feels nothing but the sincerest feelings for Sylphie S. Filianis. Her daughter, Queen Eleonora, notes that everything may be like this now, but the day will come when she, like Eleonora herself, will grow up and become an adult girl. She insists that he expresses everything that Mel carries within her. The man only confusedly tries to understand who this strange woman is and what she has been demanding from him. Finally, the mother with a serious face admits that she was only half joking, and at that moment, a thought flashed through his mind. So half of what she says is completely serious. The girl reports that a divine revelation was received 2 days ago. He is curious if this message is from Mother Earth herself. Settling next to her, the girl confirms it is exactly so. However, Sophie Estfilianis had told her nothing, and it was hard to believe that a goddess had possessed her. Smiling, she notes this indicates that Mr. Hero also knows about how Sylphie Estfilionis was obsessed with Mother Earth. Sylphie's mother, now a priestess of light, was the one who detained the Saiyans 2 days ago. Admitting what an incredible surprise awaited her in Lisa S.'s story, she emphasizes the essence of spiritualism is the ability to touch a fragment of divine consciousness and convey its will to the world. Rumors reached her Sophie Estfilian had fully embraced the identity of the Earth Mother. This news awakened a sense of pride in the mother for her daughters. Incredible talent, Mel Lai Lut reflects, despite all the achievements. For Sophie, such a state is still far from normal. Mal. Lai Lut asked what revelation she had received. The answer was unequivocal. The evil dragon relies on dark creatures that serve him. There is no doubt about it, that is the message she heard. Surprised, Mal Li Lut decides to ask again whether these wicked creatures are really fairies. She sincerely admits that she had no idea about Mr. Hero's knowledge. The capricious fairies that once forged the legendary sword for the hero and handed it to Drago now seem to have switched sides to the enemy. Maui Lut pondered, recalling Drago's words that fairies are the embodiment of pure evil. It is not worth believing in their friendship, but they will not become outright enemies either. When the opportunity arises to use their power, it would be a sin to waste it. He believes that if he were telling the truth, he wouldn't have conflicts with them and would skillfully benefit from it. The man asked the queen why they shouldn't meet with the fairies, but her reaction revealed complete confusion. It seemed she had no idea what he was talking about. Malai Lut expresses the opinion that, not knowing the intentions of the guests, it is worth meeting with them in person to clarify their true desires. The queen suddenly smiles and expresses what was expected from the hero more precisely. From Mr. Mel, his cheeks instantly flush with color. The queen raises the main question how to meet the fairies. In response to his inquiry about why they don't come here, they answer. They are unable to appear here. She replies that it would be wonderful to find an opportunity to meet with them, addressing Ma Lai Lut as the Lord. Hearing the titles hero or lord, Ma Lai Lut awkwardly notes that he feels uncomfortable. Therefore, he suggests being called simply Mal. At first, a look of surprise appears on her face, but in a moment she smiles, as if realizing everything at once. She joyfully exclaims that he will definitely become her son-in-law and Sa under any circumstances. Terrified, he can believe his son and son-in-law are involved, but the queen mocks him. Isn't this already settled? Stretching out her arms, she calls him to her, asking him to call her mom and to cuddle against her chest in warm embraces. Standing still, he suddenly bursts into a scream, categorically assuring that he will not do it. She just laughs, apologizing between jokes. Everything seems incredibly funny to her. His such a sweet reaction pushed her to tease him a little. The girl adds that there is a grain of truth in every joke. After all, the feelings of this sincere and almost sylph-like Phyllis towards him are not just infatuation, but also boundless trust. A smile appears on his face, and he admits that he knows all of this. He sincerely adds that his feelings are not yet fully understood by himself, and therefore he is not sure if he is ready to tie his life to hers. For him, she became a ray of light amid the gray, monotonous, everyday life that had still filled his lonely existence. The meeting with the smile of Sylphi est Filianus became a true ray of light in his life, igniting warmer feelings in his soul, day by day. He understands that this girl is extremely dear to him, and his emotions are completely sincere. The queen sighs heavily, stating that she feels dizzy. She should probably go out first. Suddenly, she turns away, stubbornly repeating to herself that she is not looking. At that moment, the queen calls him by name. He looks over. She bows low, thanking him for saving her daughter. He realizes that at this moment she was not speaking as a queen or as a priestess of light. In her words, there was the gratitude of a mother filled with tender love. Since Eleanor left, a considerable amount of time has passed, and he still did not hurry to get out of the water. With his eyes closed, he enjoyed the rest, surrendering to the feeling of tranquility. Suddenly, a fairy appears, humming something in her unfamiliar language and swirling in a joyful dance. At first glance, she seems tiny, even resembling an insect. But her movements quickly reveal that she is a true magical being. Judging by Eleanor's words, meeting Ferris was a real rarity. So did he really happen to come across her so easily? In his eyes, it doesn't matter. The main thing is to act friendly and talk to her in order to win her over. His gaze is fixed on her, but it seems she has no idea of his presence. Confusion paralyzes his movements. He has no idea what to do next. Suddenly, her laughter cuts through the silence. The girl cheerfully wonders who this gloomy stranger is, a true hero, or just a dark shadow. She wonders in surprise if there has been some mistake after all. He does not resemble a weak pod bean at all. With fierce rage, she grabs the fairy, squeezing it in her hands as if trying to pour out all her resentment. But in a moment she freezes. The surprise in her open mouth reveals her astonishment at the realization of her own action. Her scream pierces the silence. What does he think he can allow himself? Does he not realize who is in front of him at Chapelle? Meanwhile, Mel Lai Lut is bewilderedly pondering that he just wanted a casual conversation, but instead nearly crushed her. The girl was slapping his palm, demanding to be let go, showering him with all sorts of insults. Malai Lut could only sigh inwardly. If that's the case, then there's nothing to be done. With confidence in his voice, he declares that he has something to say to her. She does not hesitate for a moment, and immediately asks if he is going to confess his love to her. Her cheeks are flushed, her eyes are closed, and the light touch of her palms on her face reveals her embarrassment. The boy caught her off guard. So the girl doesn't even know how to react. Malai Lut feels that his sixth sense is persistently suggesting that if he makes a mistake in his choice, the consequences could be catastrophic. Malilut notes that the fairy possesses a divine essence, so if one recklessly uses the assessment, the consequences may turn out to be too burdensome. He wonders if it is really so easy to understand her nature. She tirelessly teases him, and it seems he is unable to look away. Kuti Chapelle watches her closely, as if reading candid lines before him stands a true fairy. Although her activities can hardly be called decent, Malai Lut feels an inexplicable anxiety while reading this. He finds it hard to grasp the meaning, as the girl is a fairy endowed with such a special trait. A thought flashed through his mind. What difference does it make? She is still a fairy. A sudden impulse, and he sharply rises from his seat, as the heat begins to cloud his mind. He tries to check on her, but she snaps, telling him to stop staring so passionately. She warns that he doesn't even realize how stubborn she can be. Chapel is ready to test his patience and make him love her even more. Mal. Lai Luta believes that reading this is pointless and assures her that he does not intend to confess his love. She claims that there is nothing wrong with him, although she completely does not understand her logic. With a sweet smile, she adds, "So he has decided to court Chipple after all, and she is starting to like this idea." In his thoughts, Mel Lay Lut assures himself that he never intended to flirt with her, so he decides to simply ignore the situation. The man asked what brought her here. In response, the girl smiled, and noted it took Chip a very short time to get interested. Just a trifle. She replies that she came to see who the hero really is in response. He asks, and what next? The girl admits that if the guy turned out to be decent, she would, without hesitation, make him fall in love with her and turn him into a devoted servant. Malai smiles awkwardly, realizing he drops compliments with a total poker face. Her face freezes in surprise, followed by a realization it's not worth telling what is already known. In a moment of disappointment, the mood subtly darkens. The surprise is spoiled, leaving a barely perceptible sense of disillusionment. He denies it's about her, but she sarcastically agrees. Pivoting fast, he compliments her striking hair. Her eyes flare. Why is she still involved? He shuts it down. It's not her. He just remembered his friend. Her eyes flare with rage as she pummels his arm, shouting that she saw right through him. Chappelle's livid. He demands to know why a real man wouldn't praise her more. Raising her hands to the sky, she exclaims that under such circumstances, she will definitely make the hero fall in love with her. It finally clicked. Answers are easy to find when she's this naive. Anger overwhelms him, as for some reason he constantly associates everything with love. Perhaps it's better to remain silent about these feelings. Chappelle possesses the characteristic secrecy, agility, and cruelty of fairies. If she wishes, she can instantly destroy everyone around her. He cuts to the chase, asking if she's made a deal with the dragon, but she's completely clueless. He is filled with wonder and asks if she knows nothing about the evil dragon. Outraged, she exclaims that, of course, she knows all about him. She notes that it's shameful not to know something like this, as it... Her speech suddenly stumbles, and then the girl compares the creature to a dragon, only a much angrier version. Ma-Alai Lut suddenly realizes that he has no answer. He notes that there are rumors of fairies collaborating with a cunning dragon and putting obstacles in his way. Has she heard anything about this? But instead of an answer, the girl is curious about what the conversation was about since childhood. She assures that she is indifferent to the antics of other fairies, sighs with slight irritation, and thinks of all this as a complete failure. She is filled with indignation. Such a reaction seems strange. She suspects that some ill thought about Chappelle just flashed through his mind. In response, he admits that he does not possess such information, which irritates her. He hurriedly apologizes and asks where he could learn more about other fairies. She simply nods towards the king, suggesting that he might as well turn to him. The hero finally understands the meaning of the special effect of his sword, which the fairy king mentioned, and shares this discovery. He is wondering how he can see him. In response, the girl sighs. He hasn't gone out anywhere for a long time, so the chances of meeting are almost non-existent. He notes that he will probably have to go to the land of fairies. She just laughs in response, assuring him that he wants to be able to get there on his own. However, she adds with a sly smile, Chappelle will easily guide him to the gate of the magical world. He notes that it is a bad omen, and jokingly insists that now she will have to take him with her. In response, she makes a cute grimace, and, with an impatient smile, declares that she wants to take him for anything. Carefully holding the girl, he almost broke her with his embrace. It was that dangerous. The man asks if she is able to lead him there. She agrees. If he lets her go, she will help him achieve his goal. Inside him, a suspicion is brewing. Perhaps she is not as simple as she seems. For a moment, it freezes in silence, trying to catch her mood. A pain begins to throb in the temples. It is clear that dealing with the divine has never been easy. Looking at him with a penetrating gaze, the fairy raises her hands, and a sudden flash pierces the space, enveloping everything around in a blinding glow. She bites his hand painfully, instantly flies away from him, and exclaims that it should be so. Let him get what he deserves. Malai Lut immediately regrets everything. He jumps, but he can't reach her. Chapel notes that more and more people have been going out lately. Perhaps it's worth trying his luck there. Iloop finds this information useful. However, he feels much calmer when Chappelle is always nearby. Some are surprised and ask what just happened, as someone spotted Flash there. It turns out to be Clara. She is ordered to stop and cover herself with at least a towel, as Mel is nearby. Clara calls for her brother, while Lisa tries to cover for her from behind. But Clara jumps straight into the hot springs, without hesitating for a moment. She hugs him, and Liza screams for it to stop. Immediately, enjoying the coolness of the water, she asks what she is doing. Mel reacts too loudly, but it turns out to be a simple misunderstanding. He actually did nothing. Clara is curious about who he was just talking to. In response, he points to the fairy nearby, admitting that he was conversing with her. Suddenly, Molly Lute looks up and notices a fairy shimmering in the air. Clara asks if something has appeared, but Molly Lute quickly realizes that Clara cannot see her at all. Anger begins to break through in Chappella. If he doesn't notice her, then why scare her so much? Meanwhile, Malai Lute realizes it seems this girl is not at all fond of Clara. The fairy says goodbye to him. Meanwhile, Malai Lute thinks pensively if things continue to go so badly, she will simply leave. Malai Lute reports that she has left. At this moment, a new plan is already forming in his mind, as the situation has reached such a development. He demonstratively sighs. Well, it's good that she left. After all, another such blinding flash would have completely knocked him off his feet. Wiping his forehead, he notes with relief it's good that she left after all. An ironic, tense, wary smile appears on Chipple's face. She screams, reminding him that it was he who revealed his weaknesses to her, calls him foolish, and then again unleashes her anger in a new furious attack. Clara closes her eyes. Malai Lute perceives this calmly, thinking that last time she caught him off guard. But if he squints a little, it's generally quite tolerable. Clara is loudly called to jump into the source of light and grab onto it. Chappelle looks around in surprise, not understanding what is happening at all. Clara jumps up and exclaims that she sees nothing, but if her brother wants this, she is ready to do anything. Clara suddenly bites the fairy, who gasps loudly in surprise. Molly Lute nods approvingly and notes that this is wonderful, Clara. Instincts are simply excellent. Mel-Lailut takes the fairy out of her mouth and assures that she is fine. She admits she understands nothing, but she absolutely loves the compliments. The fairy, exhausted and unconscious, lies bound by sticky slime and quietly moans. Mel-Lailut notes with surprise that she, despite everything, is still holding on to life. Here again is the key to the magical land in his hands. Now, it remains to understand how to make this thing open. The way, Lisa asks in confusion. What was that just now? So bright. And Mel-Lailut only catches himself thinking what a heavy, almost oppressive atmosphere prevails around. Having caught Chipela, they reach the heart of the kingdom. The piddle before meeting the fairy king, the hero confessed that he wished to prepare, and it was then that Sylphi est Filianis offered to keep him company. Even in your homeland, danger can lurk around you. Sylphi est Filianis shows him a shop ahead, where they serve incredibly delicious meat dishes, and a little further, the windows entice with cute trinkets. Little Lailu thinks of himself as the one on guard for the princess. Safety raising a small cage, he notices that inside there is only one tiny insect, which is a bit annoying. Chipel, however, bursts out in outrage. Who does he dare to call an insect here? The enchanted cage, like a trap for insects or birds, is surrounded by protective spells. Inside, even fairies, capable of moving freely through space, lose this ability due to the magical barrier. Chipel, slightly frowning, declares that he cannot allow Mel-Lailut to be alone with another woman. Lifting the cage, Mel-Lailut asks if she hates him. Her answer is sharp. Of course she hates him after all. He is the one who locked her here, behind bars. She reminds him now that he has managed to win Chipel's heart. He must take responsibility for his actions. Little Lailut pushes away the cage that radiates a strange warmth of love. He apologizes to Sylphi est Filianis with regret for having taken this mysterious thing with him. The girl gently squeezes his hands, assuring him that it's just a trifle. It doesn't bother her at all. On the contrary, her heart is filled with joy at the opportunity to walk beside him. She is infinitely happy. The fairy, locked in a cage, angrily exclaims in response to her words, "Warning, Dawn. Do you dare even think about flirting with him?" Sylphi est Filianis. As piercing gaze at the cage provokes an unfriendly reaction from Chipel. She sharply asks what she is staring at and why she want to look away. Finally, meeting her gaze, she apologizes after all. If you don't look closely, it's completely impossible to notice the fairies. A sincere smile blooms on the girl's face, and she admits that she wants to become her friend. She also asked if she has any objections. Captivated by Chipev's charm, she cannot hold back her smile. Her cheeks are covered with a gentle blush, and, a little shyly, she agrees. If you insist, then fine. She accepts the friendship and sincerely thanks for it. Mel-Lailut, observing their mutual infatuation, ironically notes to himself, "This fairy is indeed so naive." Sylphi est Filianis approaches him with a suggestion to first visit the weapon shop. At the same time, he explains that he is looking for a sheath for his sword, as carrying it in his hands is quite inconvenient. Sylphi est Filiana assures it is truly dangerous. Mel-Lailut adds that the residents of the towns they passed through warned that it takes 2 or 3 days to create a scandal, so he rejected the idea. The young man assumes that he will hear the same answer in the capital S weapon shops, but he doesn't want to waste so much time on it. Chapel asks her in surprise what it is about, as he believes that a true hero's sword must surely be hidden in worthy scabbards, right? Assuring that the truth has already been revealed, he adds their king delivered them, along with the body of the hero Erdogan. The fairy notices that the hero's sword sheath is a magical artifact. If her assumption is correct, this item possesses useful properties. Perhaps that is why it was brought. Maule asks in surprise if this is really true, and now his desire to get them has only increased. Their company stops by the store. The heroes enter the armory and greet each other. The old master is curious about what they are lacking today. Drawing the sword from its sheath, he notes that he is looking for the perfect scabbard for it. He then requests permission to examine the weapon more closely. As soon as the sword appears in sight, surprise flashes across the face. Malai extends the weapon forward. The old man, his eyes wide with astonishment, recognizes the blade. It is the legendary sword of the hero. A joyful smile appears on his face as he asks if the interlocutor is familiar with this sword. In response, a confident voice states that it would be a true sin for a blacksmith not to know such a relic. He recalls how 30 years ago he saw this weapon for the first and last time in the city, where the legendary hero fell. He couldn't even imagine that he would see himself being pulled out of the stone. Captivated by the surprise, he rushes to the boxes, frantically searching for something and muttering, "It has to be here somewhere." Extending the object in his hands, he notes that with a few minor changes, this item will perfectly match his sword. Malai begins to clarify whether he realizes how much time he has left. He confidently adds that for him, an hour is quite enough to handle everything. He is filled with wonder and exclaims, "Is it really happening so quickly?" The old man laughs in response. Malai immediately declares that he cannot leave the sword here. To this, the old man reassures him, saying that there is no need to worry. He claims that it is enough just to take a look to assess the size. He suggests giving them a chance to wander a bit to kill time. He thanks them, adding that it will greatly ease his task. Holding hands, they walk out together. Sylphius Fionus is curious about their plans next. He replies that he needs to think about it. In the cramped workshop, he asks her if she needs any tools, but she confidently replies that she doesn't lack anything at the moment. With curiosity suggesting whether she would like to try on a kimono, the boy confidently adds that it would definitely suit her. His gaze stops at the neatly laid out clothes, which he immediately points to with a gesture. Her cheeks are flushed with blush, and with a smile, she admits if Malai says so, she will definitely try on the outfit. Taking the clothes in her hands, the girl throws over her shoulder, "Okay, I'll try it on," and leaves the room. Looking around at the numerous equipment, Mally casually notes its variety, when suddenly a piercing scream comes from the fitting room. Her moaning fills the room. She complains of pain. Confused, he pulls back the curtain, trying to find out if everything is all right, and asks about her well-being with concern. On the bed, still undressed, she sits, bound by discomfort. Lay is blushing and stifling a silent gasp, while Sylph Astphilianus is also glowing with shame. Apologizing, he addresses her, and in response, there is only a timid mumble. Finding himself in a cage, Shapel cannot contain the wave of shame that washes over him because of their conversations. She awkwardly blames her long robe for the trip, but Malai doesn't even blink. The Sylph Estulianos, still all rosy, admits if this is Malai, she has no objection to him looking at her. A question ignites in her eyes, and Chipple looks on alert, waiting for explanations. After all, he really came here just to look at her. However, coming to his senses, he exclaims that it's not like that at all, that it's some kind of unfortunate misunderstanding. Malai never worn armor, so he suggests light gear to match her low strength. Apologizing in advance, he asks the seller if the store has the latest armor. The seller smiles and replies that if it's about the lightest armor, it will definitely be found. She admits she tried the dress, so Malai takes a look. He clears his throat as she notes the fit is way too loose. With his eyelids clenched, he tensely admits that he would not allow himself to be called an older brother. In response, she coldly remarks that she does not consider him a brother. Yet for him, this thought still remains impossible. The girl with a smile assures that she understands everything, and adds perhaps when she grows up, she will be able to afford to wear something similar. Mal Leiden pictures her grown up as future Queen Eleanor, turning bright red with excitement. With a fierce shout, he forbids her even in adulthood from wearing such things, convincing her that she can only appear in such a way before her brother and no one else. By the way, according to Molly Lute, this armor has excellent protective properties. After changing clothes, they set off together to meet new events. Sylphiast asks their next move. He smirks, finally ready to try something he's always dreamed of. Mel Lai Lute uses his assessment skill to flip cheap junk into instant riches. They hit the shops, checking out vases, paintings, antique weapons, and even cats. Sadly, prices are fair everywhere. Every shop is honest, and the appraisers are total pros. A wonder shop appears. Staring at his palm, he's desperate for a unique power. Magic and artifacts let you pick any skill, but there's a hard limit. Even legends are capped at 5. For Molly Lute, the requirement has increased now. The threshold consists of 3 skills. An excess of abilities not only becomes useless sometimes, skills even take away strength. These skills stick for life. You can swap them for stronger ones later, so choose wisely. Sophie asks if he'll visit the magic shop he's in, hunting a rare skill sold only here. Shocked, she asks about the power. He proudly reveals his rare skill. Self-regeneration, the application of evaluative abilities depending on the circumstances, can significantly exhaust the body. However, according to Fionus, with self-regeneration, this is much easier. Sylph asked her if she understood the essence correctly. Melai Liut notes that such a skill is extremely valuable and rare. This feature undoubtedly affects its price. There's nothing to be done about rarity, he jokes, surveying the store's assortment. The clerk welcomes the magician back, but the boy jokes they're just here to window shop. Sylphie smiles, confirming the truth. When she asks about his goals, he reveals he wants to master the rare self-regeneration skill. Her eyes flare with rage. Is she only testing his strength because of him? He calmly reveals he's rank D, and she just sighs in exhaustion. Calling him baby, she asks if he knows Regent's skills only come from elixirs, and every single one is insanely powerful. She warns one sip of this potion kills anyone below B rank. Now a Feliano, Sylphie relates to Mel's struggle. The clerk senses their doubt and tells them not to rush, though she's still hoping for a sale. She won't risk the client, she whispers with a bow. Mao Lai Liut asked if it was possible to at least see this elixir. She replied that since they were just looking, it was not a problem. She tells them to wait and calls Galetta for the Iris Spring infusion. Holding a small box, she reveals she's the one entrusted with the potion. Mel pops the chest to find the source of Iris, a 7.5 million unit elixir granting the Earth Goddess healing skill. It offers massive recovery, but risks instant death unless you are rank A or use recovery items master it, and you get permanent, infinite healing with a slow recharge. She's never sold this. It's the only self-healing potion in existence. Melailut shows Chipple. His secret gradual use yields massive results, and his regeneration allows for infinite spamming, while the hero's sword negates every potion drawback. He realizes the catch: it's way too expensive. He realizes the stakes. This rare item is worth the price, but he's broke. Suddenly, someone tugs his sleeve.